Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well on this Friday evening. We have Mike and Kerry. Kerry's the creator of Pro Strategy Football and Pro Strategy Football 2021. Mike is a mod season creator. Hope everyone's doing well. And we're going to talk a little Pro Strategy Football. And Pro Strategy Football 2021. You got to turn the sound down. We're going to talk a little Pro.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Anyway, that's what's the beauty of going live. So, and let's just say hello to some people here. Hello, Jason. I love Steve Grogan. And that is an autograph, a legit autograph. Well, at least they told me. Our good friend.
Behind me is a Rocky Blyer jersey, and it has a certificate of authenticity. I actually got that autographed jersey as a Christmas gift this year.
That's cool. Rocky Blyer out of Notre Dame. So we have Kerry. Your last name Bates, correct?
Yes.
Batts.
That's all right.
I knew I was going to mess that up, and I forgot to ask you. Kerry Batts is the developer and creator of Pro Strategy Football.
Howdy.
That's Kerry below me. And then we have Mike in the truck. This is Mike in the truck, as we used to say, Uncle Ron and I. Michael is a creator of the mod seasons, which are all free. And I provided the link in the chat and on the page of his website for how many seasons are up there? There's a lot.
1948 was done.
Yep.
We are now have every season, which includes every team, from 1950 to 1998. 1999 and 2000 are currently being built. So we literally have everybody. 1948, we have 1950 to 1998 at this point. 99 and 2000 under construction. Oh, we do have 2020 as in this season, using end of season rosters based off of how they did the regular season, which is how all of the mods are built. We don't care about the playoffs. The idea is that when you sim it, you should get the same kind of regular season results. And then the playoffs are the playoffs, just like real life.
Yeah.
The objective when we build these is if you're the undefeated Dolphins, you should go 14-0, 13-1, 12-2. The 15-1 Bears should be 16-0, 15-1, 14-2, 13-3, worst case scenario in the regular season. And then, then it's the playoffs. So that's the way we try to design it to emulate what happened in history.
Because you had two 2020 seasons, a prelim season,
right?
Like a guesstimate, which was fun.
Right.
And then at the end of the year, I think you were the first guys to put out the 2020 season, we'll say, with complete ratings, and the way I'll put it, complete ratings.
Second and 10 might have done it before we did. I think that's been out a little bit. So
they did it either at the same time or a week after. I know because I sent the email saying.
Yeah, I got it, but I think it might have been out a little bit. So.
Okay, but I love second and 10, so that's kudos to them. Great game.
Absolutely fantastic. Sorry.
Let me just go to the chat.
Absolutely fantastic. It is.
Hello to Big Polly. Big Polly's World of Sports Sim.
Howdy. Hey.
Scott Howard says, hello, guys. Love the game and the mods. Thanks. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, Howard, thank you. That's what we want to hear. That's what creators want to hear. We just want everybody happy. Oh, some guy named Dave Garner decided to show up.
Uncle Dave. Now, Dave, if you haven't heard, Kerry Batts was on Digital to Dice with Uncle Dave Gardner and Uncle Ron Juckett on Digital to Dice on Spreaker, or you can find it on the YouTube page. I highly suggest to check it out.
Rob, to it. It was good.
Hey, Robbie. Yeah, Robbie's been a longtime fan of my game.
Yeah. So so let's start with. I know some of the story, but I don't think a lot of other folks might not. And you did tell it on Digital to Dice, but if we can read it, how did you get started with? It was a college project. I remember you saying.
Yeah, so I'll go quickly on this. When I was younger, I loved playing board games. My brother and I, and then also one of my friends, Don, in high school, and we would play war games like Third Reich and stuff. But also, we loved playing pay dirt and the old Stratomatic football game. That's as far as it went. And then when I was 30 years old, I went back to college to get a master's of computer science because I had gotten an opportunity to program and found out I loved it. So I went back to school, and then I had to come up with an idea for either a thesis or a project. And I was too lazy to do a thesis. So I said, well, hey, I love playing football. What if I could write a game? So, and interestingly, my focus, as you can tell from the very beginning, was on coaching. I wanted to be able to coach it against my brother, and then on the realistic results. So all this stuff with franchise, I've had to add later as people made suggestions to me because I didn't know anything about that side of it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then,
you were able to meet Tom Landry.
I did that. Yes. And that was huge because in 1975 with the Hail Mary pass, we were watching the Cowboys, and I didn't even watch much football, but I thought it was over, and then it wasn't over. And so I started reading up on Landry and Staubach, and I thought, these are guys I can really admire. And so I became a huge fan. And then fast forward many years later, I'm actually sitting in Tom Landry's office and talking to him. And boy, you talk about, I felt so stupid because he's explaining things to me. And I'm like, But yeah, so I've got a lot of that on cassette tapes. That went out of business,
yeah.
The company that was doing it, and this was early 90s. And then around 2010, my younger son said, Dad, why don't you rewrite that game? And he loaned me his Mac long enough to see if it was, I could do it. And I did. And there we go.
It's a fun game. And I want to talk about now, when you play any sim game, you're not going to get the exact results.
Right.
I have to tell you, the 72 Dolphins went 13-1.
Oh, man.
I did the whole season. I played as the Patriots.
Yeah.
And then I put a couple of those on, but then I decided, I learned this from Mike and in the truck, but why don't I just sim these and people can watch? And so we did that a couple of games a week, and we did all the playoffs, and everyone liked it. Everyone enjoyed it. It's a fun game. I like to call this game, it captures what people, we were talking offline about some other games that are all good games, but the graphics are a square or a triangle or this. And I still love those. I play 2nd and 10. I play Action PC. I play Strat. I've even played Football Mogul. All fun games. What this brought to me was the Tecmo. And again, I like seeing the uniforms. You don't know how happy that makes me to see the creamsicle uniforms of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think I've played more Buccaneers games offline just because I like looking at that uniform. It's so much fun. And the game is strategic. For anyone who says the game is not strategic, I will debate it with you. It is strategic. You can either play on easy mode or expert mode. I like to play on expert mode because I like, excuse me, I'm sorry. I want this guy to run the post because I hope that occupies the safety. And another thing that was, when I listened to your interview, and we talked about it with Mike in the truck when we were doing the project with him, and Uncle Ron was with us a couple of times. If you were talking about how sometimes you don't want to blitz that linebacker because you're vacating, and it made so much sense when I listened to it because I said, okay, if I keep my linebackers back, I have a better opportunity to stop this type of passing. Now, if they run a certain other play, they might beat me on it, but it is numbers driven by numbers ratings. I've made, again, hats off to Mike and the other creator. I've made 3 college teams, and it's, they make seasons.
Yeah.
So, but it's a really fun game. I thank you very much. And there is strategy in the game.
Hey, Mike.
The one thing, before I forget, someone did just recently ask me, and because I forget things. He mentioned, and I wish I could remember the person's name, but I think I actually put on your Facebook page the question. He had asked, it seems, well, I answered one. He says, does anyone ever return a fumble? I go, yes, it's happened to me. I've seen it.
Yep.
Not all the time. Sometimes most of the time they just fall on it.
Now, do you mean run it back for 6 or just run it back to a?
I've seen them run it back.
Yeah.
I mean, like for 40 yards.
I've seen
both. Block punts and kicks are my favorite.
Yeah.
Even if it's against my team, I'm like, it's awesome. The thing he asked, though, say I'm running a post with whoever, Billy Waddy. It seems like I'm always throwing to Waddy. Like he never checks down. I try to explain. I said, well, and he actually did. He goes, no, I understand. He understood the rating system. Like he went in, he looked, and he goes, no, my guys, this quarterback he can read the defenses and that. So that was the question. Can you just explain? Because I said, I've seen on a few occasions where I said, throw to this guy, and they throw to someone else.
Right.
But is there a way? Well, go ahead and explain, and then I'll.
Yeah. So a couple of things on that. If the AI is coaching, then the AI ranks its receivers, and it depends on if they're throwing short, medium, or long, because am I going to include backs as much, so forth. But it basically ranks the receivers according to their hands, their quickness, whatever. And then, so that gives them a percentage. So maybe my split end is so good, he's going to get 40% of my passes.
Right.
Then it's a dice roll.
Yeah.
Now that's if the AI is calling it. If I'm calling it, there's a setting in the settings that says spread out passes more. And if you turn that off, then it's more like a chess match. And the reason I sometimes turn it off is because if I'm playing Mike, who beat me, by the way, when I was the Cowboys, because my punt returner fumbled in the last 2 minutes.
The Jim Kelly Buffalo Bills, baby.
Man. But it's more of a chess match if you turn that off, because I'm saying I think Al is going to throw to his split end, and I'm going to double cover the split end. But if you're just wanting to play, you can turn that setting on, and it spreads them out a little bit more.
So if you turn that setting on, it will spread it out more. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I play against and I love playing against, I know I got to play Mike and you at some point, and whoever, because you can play online. That's another great aspect. We'll touch on that. I'm not a big play online person. I like to but I have to do it because I think it's be a lot of fun. The thing I like to do is I'm playing as the 77 Rams, Joe Namath, what if, the Vikings kicked the living snot out of me. I couldn't move the ball. I couldn't do anything.
And I told you the game before when you noted you're going to play the Vikings, I told you I think you might have problems on that game.
And what I like to do with
I didn't expect you to have that kind of a problem, though.
What I do is I run the ball. I don't like to pass in passing situations.
Me too, especially in older seasons.
Yeah, because they're going to – and I'll set up in a run formation. I'm going over I don't throw medium. I don't throw – once in a while, I want to throw over the top like the old days when you throw deep. And they sat – great – the game is so much fun. And let me go to the chat real quick. Because Dave Gardner, where was it? The uniforms are awesome. The uniforms and logos make him smile. I love that comment because they do also for me. Robbie Werper says, yes, love the game. Every year it gets better and better. Yes, it does.
When it comes to NFL Challenge, I had that game, and let me tell you a little story. And I had heard of it, but I never played. It was $100. It was $99. It was super expensive.
Wow.
And you had to flop the disc depending on you had like the program disc. You had to put in the season disc you wanted. I think there was another disc where you could like some kind of GM disc of some kind. But anyway, ESPN had what they called, and you could do a search for it on YouTube.
I remember I watched that.
It was called the NFL Dream Season. Yep. They had 20 teams from history. By the way, I made a mod out of that.
Yes, you did.
Football.
If you just hold on,
And I actually got the schedule. And at first, I couldn't find my old discs. And there's a guy that was showing the games. He has all of them recorded. He's been making YouTube videos. And I contacted him. I explained what I was doing. I said, can you supply me with the schedule? And he actually did. And then I found my disc, and he was exactly right. So I actually have the schedule, so you can actually replay the NFL Dream Season for Pro Strategy Football 2021. But when I had those discs, I watched it, and I thought it was so – I was in college, and we all were digging it. And, so I finally broke down. I bought the program. I bought that disc. And the first game, I also bought the greatest teams disc. We had the best team from each franchise. And the first matchup was the 72 Dolphins and the 85 Patriots. So I ran it, and I spit out the numbers, and the Patriots destroyed the Dolphins.
The 85 team was good.
But to destroy the undefeated Dolphins?
Sounds good to me. I'm a Patriots
fan. I know you would like it, but I'm sitting there going, wait a minute. What? Huh? Come on.
That's a sim.
It is. So, but this is part of the point. I mean, and I played some other games, and I found, I know those that like the game, I go, hey. But actually, if you want me to break some hearts here, if you play NFL Challenge, if you throw the tight end, it's almost always a completion, regardless of the team.
But before I lose the comment, Kerry. Anyway, Kerry answered it. Julian Brown asked for Pro Strategy Football 22. Is it possible to add RPOs to the game?
Yeah. So real quick. So my main thing right now is I've really improved custom tournaments. So now you can have buys, and you can see the brackets during the playoffs and all. So I've done that, and now I'm working on one of the hardest things I've had to work on in years, and that is flexible, configurable rosters. So I'm going to have at least 43-man rosters and 53-man rosters, and I'm having packages, and packages are working right now. I just need to implement the the UI to manage your packages, but I'm going to make it so you can have starters and subs and so forth and just swap packages. Then after that, I'm going to take on one of the other hardest things I've had to do in a long time, and that's expanding coaching. And I may be able to add the run pass option in there.
Oh, our run pass option. I
had to look it up.
I was sitting there going, I don't know what this means.
That's something we had talked about too.
The other, I'll tell you, if you could do this, I don't know if you could, if you could put in a wishbone, I swear to God, I'll make every wishbone, a lot of wishbone teams.
Okay, so that's a great point. So I would love to as well. Let me tell you now, I went to Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Running team, right? So they still run the option. They still lose horribly. But so my son went to Texas A&M, so I'm more of an A&M fan than because they at least win some. But so you raised a great point a while ago about teams from the 50s calling 4 wide receiver formations.
Yeah.
When I get to that, and that I'm hoping to finish the rosters work by the end of February, at least enough to get it to beta testers. And then while they're testing that and giving me feedback, I'm going to move on to the coaching. And the coaching will include what plays can you call and what formations can you have. And then what I'd like to do is have a big setting per league that says, for this league, what's even available to teams? Because maybe if it's in the 50s, teams can't call 4 wide receivers because they didn't.
Right.
Of course.
But it's fun.
A team.
Right.
Huh?
It's fun to do that on occasions. It's fun.
Right.
But that has been a question put to us. Even Mike has heard, why is this formation like that? Because it's there, it's available, and it does make it fun. But if you're able to have that option to what would you say, Mike? Play or Kerry, play in the style or the way they played. Some people would like that.
I mean, it could be built into some kind of notation in the league. But if you're the coach, it doesn't matter what's built into the league. You're probably going to have the whole playbook anyway. I'm guessing the way Kerry's going to have it, and you could go a shotgun 4 wideouts from somebody in the 50s, but you're the coach. It's that your call, and everybody else is by default, whatever factors Kerry toggles off and on.
So
you could have the historical. It could come with the historical reality. I'm just pitching this to Kerry. Come with the historical reality, but since you're the coach and it's your league, you can do whatever you want.
That would be the best to me. Again, I don't know how hard these to say. If someone wants to play historically accurate with formations,
right?
Cool. But I'd also like the ability to go, well, you know what? I wonder if I put this Lenny Moore in the slot, or because Lenny Moore, running back, wide receiver. What if I put Lenny Moore on that field as a slot receiver? And I have 3 wide receivers. How does that go? Sometimes that's fun. I like doing stuff like that.
Oh, and that's something I want to do. I want to do a lot. I mean, these guys are asking some great questions about college ball. That won't save. Oh, I have too many characters. But it's so if a lot of these things will be there, but so one of the things I want to do with packages is give you some more options, so that I still need to have halfback and fullback just because it's so integrated into my system.
Right.
But what I want to do is make it at least where if I want to bring in somebody at the halfback position, I can pick any running back.
Yes.
And I may even make it where I could bring in a tight end. I don't know yet.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe as
where it gets complicated.
Maybe as a fullback, Kerry.
Huh?
The tight end, have the tight end come in as maybe the fullback.
See, I would love to do these. Now, what I have to think about though is how do I get the AI to do all this? So that's where I will probably run into some difficulty, and maybe I tackle the first thing this year, and then as you're testing it, and as you're playing the game throughout the season, like you've done already, we can come up with ideas on how to get the AI to bring that tight end for a fullback and so forth.
And let me just say that you are and Dave Gardner brought it up, Ron Juckett brought it up, Mike's brought it up before. You want to hear the ideas, and you want to the bugs, you want to catch everything, and you want to see if you can improve when people say, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Now, again, everyone has to remember the program has been done so that I don't want to say, I guess limitations is the right word. You only can work with the program. Let me go to the chat here because I'm Dave Gardner would love to see the goalposts. That would be awesome. That's a graphics thing though, but the goalposts on the goal line,
I have to think about that. Yeah. Because I'd have to make it sure your players don't run through the goalpost.
Yeah, that would be.
I think the graphic artist that we have doing these mods told me he could actually do it right now. But the problem with doing it is the way the animation is built in the engine, you can have players standing literally inside or on the goalpost, running through them. And we chatted about it. So he said, I'll do the double goalposts, but I'm going to leave them in the back of the end zone. So he kind of like our mod graphic artist split the difference. So they exist from before 74, if I remember correctly. They're just not at the goal line.
Right.
It's a limitation
that's all right.
It could be in there now, I think he said, but it's just like, do you want players running through them? It's just going to look weird.
Yeah, no, that's fine because people have asked that. And I said, no, it's a graphic thing. So that's how you got started. And then you went back to it. And I was telling the story offline, Mike, before you joined us, before we had our little pregame. And I said, I actually had
to hear the pregame.
Thank God. No, I'm just kidding. I had this on my Kindle. That's when I initially bought this game on my Kindle a few years back. And then I got it on Steam and I liked it. And I was like, oh, I wish they had real teams. And I was telling Kerry, I never looked to see, like, I don't look at mods and stuff like that. I was playing a different game, not even a sports genre game, something different. And they make maps. And one day when I went to go look at the 2020 game, I went and for ha-has, I clicked on mods. I went, oh my God, there's seasons for this. I'm buying it. And then the 2021 game's even better than the 2020 game. It's improved. And the updates have improved in my opinion, the AI, the computer's AI, whether it's AI against AI or AI against a human, has improved tremendously with each update. So again, thank you very much to Kerry. Thank you for Mike for making the seasons. So when you got back into doing this, you knew you had the limitations, and this is a question for both Kerry and Mike. So, because I've made 3 teams, and it is, you have to sit there and go, okay, I can only have 4 running backs, but they have a 5th running back that's pretty good. I turn him into a receiver.
Yeah,
that's what I did, because the other, in certain teams, their 3rd receiver didn't even have as many receptions. So, but that's got to be a tough workaround. But it's interesting when you make the teams. I have to admit, it is kind of interesting.
Yeah, when making mods, I try to be as historically accurate as possible. We both do. There are 2 of us that are working together on doing the mods, and especially when I did the 50s, because I really wanted to do it, but I knew I was going to be pulling my hair out. You will, first of all, you don't have nearly as many players.
No, you don't.
And you also run into situations. I ran into situations, especially earlier in the 50s, where, okay, this team had 3 wide receivers, no tight end, but like 9 running backs. So the way the engine is built for pro strategy football, it's etched in stone. You've got 2 halfbacks, 2 fullbacks, 5 wide receivers, 3 are called wide receivers or flankers, and 2 are called split ends. And you have 3 tight ends, regardless of what you're putting in. That's the way the roster's made. So I put in the wideouts. I put in the 4 top running backs. Then I had to sit there and go, okay, what am I going to do with all these slots that there were? I mean, I looked up not just statistics. I looked up their actual rosters. Okay, well, they didn't have anybody, literally.
No, they didn't. I'm going to say,
running backs, like you just said.
Yeah.
I tried to be creative about it, in that if this player was a fullback, I tried to make the fullback a tight end. If the player was a halfback, I tried to make the player a wideout.
Yeah.
There's
There's a question here, right here. Can we see some gameplay while the interview is happening? We will look at a few things, but there's lots of gameplay on lots of people's channels. But I will show you some gameplay. You've asked it, but we'll get back to that. Thank you very much for the question. Another one by John. He says, how does one play on a neutral field? That's a good question. I don't know.
Okay, so right now what you can do, if all you care about is home field advantage, go into settings, and there's a coaching tab and there's a realism tab. Turn off home field advantage. So that's the easiest thing to do right now. I do hope to add a neutral option for exhibition play next year. I don't know if I'll have it in for career or season play, but we'll see. So, I mean, like I said, I've got literally hundreds of things I want to do. So the question is, the hard part is prioritizing them, getting them in.
Right.
The nice thing is there's enough here for me to keep busy for several years. So
we hope that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We do hope.
You don't understand how great. Again, I love this game. I'm not lying. That's why it's on my channel a lot. It's just fun.
I hope you make it better, right?
Yeah. And again, I'm sorry. I like a squirrel because I think of things and I just.
I'm a squirrel. That's my nickname.
Excellent. So I think, Mike, how do you do? Is it a graphics thing that you have in there, like you did the Super Bowls, and it said Super Bowl on it? Will that come up? I'm trying to. Oh, I think I did get it for the Super Bowl for the 72.
Yeah. When it came to this year's version of the game,
yes,
we were converting from 20 to 2021, and then we had to do some modifications because of some things that Kerry added that we had talked about, like run usage and pass usage that didn't exist in 2020, and we had to put them in for everybody. So once we got through all that, we were going to continue making individual seasons. And because I had made compilation stuff so that people could have a little bit of everything, like the NFL 100, the NFL 100, the decade seasons, which is like the best single team from each franchise in a given decade. I did that to give people, a broad history. But when we started making individual seasons, I actually typed in for the championship. I would type in Super Bowl and the number, and the other mod maker, I think, just types in Super Bowl. So that's how you can tell which one of us has made the given mod. If you see, at least right now, if you see the Super Bowl number on it, I made that one. And if it is a Super Bowl, it's our other friend who's making it. We never discussed that. But when that was going on, there is a championship graphic. I think it's literally called championship midfield logo.
Okay.
And I was chatting with our graphic artist who also makes some mods. And I was like, what if we actually got logos, actual logos, if they exist, and put them in there? And so he was like way ahead of you, and he had them, and so he sent them out. So and here's a little tip. It's a combination of seeing that logo and what you talked about, Al, about neutral field. What you can do is, if you want to play a Super Bowl right now without simming a season, have the Super Bowl logo and act like it's a Super Bowl.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You go into you have a season, single season's best. You make a single season of the season you're talking about. You don't run a sim of anything. You go into, at the very top, create a new tournament. You click on that, and there's a tournament bracket. Shrink it down to 2 teams.
Yeah.
Then the first team listed is always the home team. You click on that, and you've got every team in your league. You pick the home first, and you pick the away second, and you go and play it. And then you are literally in the Super Bowl. So, and it's a neutral field. So you can put any 2 teams in a neutral field Super Bowl.
So if we went in right now, Mike, if I went into single season,
sure,
and I picked,
pick just to be safe. Pick one you haven't started yet.
I know. Just
to be safe.
Yeah. Let me pick.
Hey, real quick, while we're here.
Yes.
On your own, think about, is there anything I could do on this list screen that would help you identify your season or something?
When you go to scroll,
go ahead. I got any, Al, but go ahead and
like when you go to scroll, see, I'm trying to scroll. It's like backwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Now, if I want to drag down, I want it to go down. I don't want it to go up. I figured it out.
Yeah,
basically, you can't really grab that scroll bar, so you can grab anywhere in the middle of the screen and just
slide go up and down like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's Kerry. It's just the first thing that popped in because I'm like, every time I come in here, I always go
I know.
I do have an idea to abbreviate the list, Kerry, because I go through what Al's going through.
Yeah.
I have all the seasons now.
Yeah. And
I actually have some junk ones that have the same similar titles that I use as base sometimes that I've forgotten to delete. I'm afraid to delete it because I have everything zipped up and stored away. But when I'm in this menu, I have them for other building purposes. I'm not going to get into the technobabble about it. But you know how you have, when it comes to schedules, on the top, there's like a little dot icon where you can select, show me only the seasons that are the schedules that work with the season I'm loading, or show me everything, or show me the lower or higher. Could you do a toggle like that on the top where it says select single season that maybe shows you can toggle on league name only, number of teams only, because, I mean, the way it is, I mean, there's logic to it. It goes by the name and it's all the different years. But what if I wanted to bypass a lot of that stuff so I don't have to drag down forever? I mean, because, I mean, I'm sure if Al's got what I think he's got, it's going to take him forever to get the 2020. It's just a minor,
or like a
minor quibble.
Like a
but
search.
if you were able to do something like that, you could select more than one carry, so you can narrow it down and just get rid of, this.
Yeah, I'll try to add some kind of filtering to make it easier because I
So-
was thinking I have
So,
not had an
I'll
idea.
just go to a new season. Yes, I
Okay.
want to go. You know, I keep looking at the wrong screen. Like, why is that not? You know, because I have to look over here. Let's
You can
do-
have, for example, 1948. You can build a second 1948. You can have
Yeah.
one in there, but what's going to happen is, and what it will do is like Al, where it says at the top, well, where it says 1948 NFL AFC, 2 conferences, 4 divisions, 18 teams. If you're in a season, it will tell you, 12-week season, blah, blah, blah. If you have a second league of that and it's a tournament, it will say, instead of 2 conferences, 4, it'll say 2-team tournament. Yeah,
So
so that way you can, you can bring in any league you want right now.
let's
You
go
to create a new one. If you go to create a new one,
I'm going to go to 1963.
okay.
I'm going to say
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is how we're loading everywhere out there.
Right, Michael, you walk him through that league,
Yeah.
and the tournament's going to be even better next year. But go ahead and walk him through that.
Okay. Go to create new tournament on the top.
Yes.
Okay. Hit it.
Yep.
Okay. And just say, okay. Now, the reason
what's funny, Mike?
the largest.
I almost emailed you remember I did the AFC, NFC pre-play?
Yes.
I couldn't remember how to do. I was like, I kept thinking it was in the season. And I was like, oh, I'll just do it as an exhibition. I could not remember for the life of me how to, because I knew I did it before. I'm like, okay, so we're
Exhibition is going to give you the same result if you're just doing an online sim.
yeah. So now I'm going to hit.
But now this is going to be a Super Bowl neutral field, but you're literally going to. But wait a minute, what season you 63?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's got the NFL graphic in the middle of the field. It might. We'll go ahead and try it, but hit thanks, and I want to explain something to you. If you're using a league that had enough teams, this defaulted to 8 teams, 3 rounds.
Yes.
Because you have
1963.
I'm trying to think how many.
But I can change.
I think there were 12 teams.
Yep.
So this is the biggest bracket you could make using a 4, 8, 12, 16, 2, 4, 8, 12, 16, 32 setup. If you had the 32 team league, you by default will come up with a giant bracket with 32.
Oh, excellent.
But if you hit the toggle, go to 2 teams and 1 round. Okay. Now click on number 1, and who do you want to be the home team? I mean, it's going to be a neutral field, but who do you want to be the home team? San Diego. Okay, you click the next one, number 2, and then pick whoever you want. Okay, bottom right, go ahead and do it.
So then we click let's do it.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, when you do that, you're going to go to the upper left, almost the very top, schedule tournament championship. Hit that on the right, pardon me. Go below that. Yep, hit it. Okay, hit play or watch.
Yeah. Okay, so this someone had asked for some gameplay. We'll do a little gameplay real quick.
Okay.
So I'll do this.
Okay. Now, are you just going to sim it, or are you going to coach one of the teams?
I'll just coach a couple of plays, just because someone asked for gameplay.
Okay.
So I will be my beloved Patriots. I've never won. I've played this game a gazillion different football sims. I have never won this game against these Chargers. So I like to play. Now there's
they have an insane offense.
Yeah. They have 2. Let's go to let's do this. So now we can play casual, which you just pick the play, but I like to play expert. So we're going to show a little gameplay. And we want to receive. Oh, am I playing as both teams?
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay.
You can get out. You can get out and just reload it. Yeah. Just go on out, hit menu.
Okay.
And then back to the
and say quit and delete it.
Quit and delete it.
Yeah.
That way, and then go back into it and turn off the team you want to turn off the team you don't want, and that'll be computer run. Say let's start over.
Yep. And I'm sorry about that. Here we go. Okay, so let's do this. Let's play on expert.
Now
and we want to receive and let the man choose.
Got it.
And so this is
actually what you have right now is return all. What you see is what it's going to do. Now it's let the man choose.
Yep.
Okay.
So now here's the kickoff.
Yeah, this is one that didn't have the AFL logo on it. We probably didn't put it until 64.
But that's cool. So Guerin comes out of the end zone and he's going to take it to about the 25. We'll run a couple of plays God, I love this game. How can you? Here's the thing. So again, this is one of my favorite plays to do. I like to go better against the run, short yardage, 2 tight end set. I like to go play action.
Before you run it, can you also show them the defense button?
Yes, I have a bad habit. So most likely, I would say they would play a 4-3 here.
I think almost everybody in the AFL plays a 4-3.
Yeah.
Except I'm trying to do this off the top of my head until maybe late. I think everybody in the 50s was a 4-3.
So I'm going to put Kolkoff, and I apologize if I mispronounced his name. And I like to
be Coakley.
Is it Coke?
I want to say Coakley.
Coakley. So I'm going to run.
So this is a nice play. So you're lining up and run. You're doing play action. You got men in the block.
You see how I have Romeo? I want him to run the post. I want him to occupy the safety. Yeah. This guy is going to come in motion. He's going to start to go. I'm hoping the safety, who's already, if there's 2 of them, they're already sort of moving that way. And then I'm going to go to the corner. So here,
before you hit go, let's explain to people that first of all, there's a rating on your receiver there, Coakley or however you pronounce it. His hands are a 7.
Yep.
That safety back there is an 8, and I can't really tell what the corner is up there. I think he's an 8.
Yep.
The quarterback passing on long passes is a 4.
Right.
But
so
let's hope it works.
I'm trying to catch them off guard.
That's right.
So
and it may.
So so we're gonna run it.
All right.
Good luck, man.
Man coverage. We got it. Oh,
what the heck? He must have. I think he fell down.
So we had. They were playing run, but they quickly got a pass rush on him. So now here's one of my other favorite things to do.
Okay, I'll bet you though that if we looked at the statistics on that, that you had a good chance. You just had a bad die roll because he shouldn't have gotten sacked on that.
Right. No, and that's right. And with the other people, can you just explain that there is a sim engine? Some people don't understand. There's a sim engine behind this, and we'll show you that in a moment.
That's right. So exactly right. So the animation has no impact on the play. I didn't know this till recently. Some games, you get different results depending on whether you animate the play or not. Well, my game doesn't do that. It determines the play based on ratings. That's player ratings, team ratings, the weather. If it's snowing, there's certain things.
Yeah. There's a lot of variables.
That's right.
So what
comes up with percentages and rolls the dice.
Yeah, and you've just explained it because I've tried to explain some. You get asked. I'm like, no, it's not. The animation is the icing.
That's right. It's choreography, if you will.
It's already been determined.
That's right.
And now we're going to watch it out. So now we got sacked. Now here's something. Again, they wouldn't have done this, but I have the option to do it. So I'm going to go better passing, 4 wideouts. I'm going to assume they're going to play nickel. I'm not throwing the ball. I love running the draw.
Me too. Draws and traps. Yep.
So here we go. It is 2nd and 16. Draw to Crawford, excuse me.
Yeah, they're doing a 4-3.
Oh, did I not? Oh, they stuck with the 4-3. Okay. So they sniffed that play out, even though they're playing nickel. This is what's so cool about this game. They were playing pass. The 1963 Chargers were a tremendous team.
See, that's just it. They're better. Even though they were wrong,
they're better.
A good team can be wrong and still stop you.
Right.
Yep.
So now we'll run a couple more. We'll run one more play here.
Well, they're lying with the exception of your defensive right end, the 7s and 9s.
Yeah.
You got McNeil on the outside, 6. Harris is defensive back, 9. Whitehead's an 8. Their secondary is really good. Kind of hard to read the linebackers. It looks like they're 5 or 6.
6 and 5. In this nickel formation, 6. But let's go back. We'll go back to the 4-3.
But see, if you ran that same play in that same situation 20 times, I bet 10 or 12 of them would have been good games. But who knows?
We're going to run it again.
Okay.
We're going to run it again.
Good luck.
Kerry, does your engine learn? Does it actually learn your play calls, and that you're constantly doing this guy a long pass, and you're constantly drawing with this running back, and does it?
Yeah, it learns within the game, so it takes it a couple of quarters to really see your pattern. Until then, it's trying to be okay. Let's look at the ratings.
It's trying to guess with you.
Yeah, yeah. And so, what I would like to do at some point is, wouldn't it be great if you had a user profile that if I'm coaching the 75 Cowboys, or maybe if I have a team that has better running, here's what I tend to call. It'd be nice if it would learn over time, but I don't have that in there right now. It learns during each game.
I have to, and I've said this, I believe with each update, because I've played the game quite a bit, I do believe the AI has gotten better. And we have our good friend, Anthony from, as I look at the wrong screen again, I'm like, why won't the mouse work? Anthony, our good friend from Bleacher Bums Gaming, who is the creator. He's also a fellow creator of Glory Days Boxing. And he says, Kerry, your game is excellent, having a lot of fun, and I completely endorse it as a coach. He is a high school football coach, and he loves this game. Thank you very much, Anthony, for joining us. And remember to check out Glory Days Boxing on SidelineStrategies.com. Wonderful card and dice boxing game, the best in the business. So, and Kerry, he is a high school football coach.
That's cool.
Mike's at the bottom of the screen. Sorry, Mike. Yeah. But he watched some of my videos, and I told him the game's fun, and he picked it up.
That's awesome.
So
for a coach to like my game is a high compliment. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And so we're gonna run another draw because I just sense an interception if I
Yeah, I'd probably run a drawer screen here too. So, man, they're
a good team.
They won the title that year.
Yeah.
So
by the way, I coached my 75 Cowboys to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And they met the Steelers just like in real life, but I won. So, yeah.
Which almost happened in real life.
I know. It came down to the fourth quarter. I was sweating. And I got stomped by St. Louis. I didn't remember how good
St. Louis was good
in 75 was their best year in that decade. And actually, I will tell you, Kerry, that's the way. I built them for the decade disc. I think our other the 75 cards are really, really good.
Yeah, Don Coryell,
really good.
Right? Don Coryell.
Yeah.
So Art was a quarterback. Dan Deerdorf.
Oh yeah, I was sad that I didn't meet Minnesota in the playoffs. They got beat by the Rams, and I beat them.
Anthony says to you, Kerry, you're welcome. Best combination of graphics and strategy out there. Absolutely.
That's so nice.
That's a gist of the game. I thought we ran a solid play on first.
I know, man.
Didn't work, but that's
do a fake punt. Do a fake punt and see what happens.
Oh my gosh!
I hope they block it because block punts are like one of the funnest things to watch in this game. Oh, I always do that. I have a bad habit.
Well,
so we're gonna
punt. When it comes to block punts, there's actually a percentage that Kerry has in the game, and unless we make typos, we put in that percentage.
Yeah.
Oh, you actually punted. You didn't fake it.
Oh, you said fake. No,
yeah.
No, I'm not giving. I'm gonna play a little defense. Lance Allworth.
Hey. How did you like that fake punt in that game you watched the other day? That was cool. I loved your response.
Oh, the fake field goal. Oh my God, it was awesome.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
And I built them as a balanced offense too. They weren't like a gambling.
They have two really good running backs, Lincoln and Lowe. I'm gonna play the run. I'm gonna play the 4-3. I'm gonna slide my defensive line over.
You did under.
Oh, sorry.
Well, actually, in that case, under might have been good because they're fullbacks on their weak side. So that's up to you.
I'm gonna blitz. Oh, I like man. I'm not a big zone guy. Bonacani and Randolph. I'm not going to key either running back, and let's see if we have some success here.
Good luck. Come on, man.
Good luck.
Oh, yeah.
I got
to run into our blitz. All right.
And that's one of the things I look at. If you're blitzing a man at the hole that they try to hit, your odds go up a lot.
Yeah, it's a wonderful game. There's so much strategy in it. Now, for someone, I like to play this mode. This makes me happy. There's casual mode, and if you want to switch to that, here's a cool thing. Again, watch. If you click, I don't think I can do it because I don't control that team. Maybe.
Who made that tackle? I tell you what, do me a favor, click on replay or click on the little eye up in the right corner and click on play by play. Third button down.
Yep.
And let's see who made that tackle. So scroll that down. I know I know you can't click on that. Just sorry.
No, it's all right.
Antwine. All right, so now click on Antwine on the field.
Yep. So he's a defensive lineman.
I need to add that. Sorry.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. If it had been, let's run another. Let's do another. Let's so it's 2nd and 10. I'm going to play the pass. Man to man.
Dang, you got a good pass rush.
I'm going to.
Well, Hall is up against Allworth and Allworth, and he's got a slight advantage on him.
Yeah.
On the other side,
I'm going to blitz. I'm going to blitz Randolph from the outside. Bonacani's going to stay at home, and Addison is on the tight end. It looks like to me. Again, just some gameplay. Oh, they ran, but we still stuffed them. See, that's what I like about this game. That again, Boston had a pretty good defense,
and you still had them shifted over to that side. So
right. Well, I've learned that in the game that I like to. All right, so let's see if we can hold them, and then we'll get back to the
3rd and 11.
So now they've gone 3 wideouts. I've learned I can either go 3-4, but that puts everyone. I don't like that. So we're going to go nickel because I do like to have that safety back. And I'm going to blitz Kudzik. And I'm going to stunt my line. And we're going to play pass, nickel, man coverage.
Good luck. All right. Good pressure.
All right, so we forced him to punt, and this will be the last little play here. I'm going after it.
All right.
Let's see if we get a blocked punt here. Paul McGuire to punt. He got it off.
Yes, as in the announcer, Paul McGuire, in case anybody I've heard that name. Yep, he punted.
There you have some gameplay. So now we'll just go back out. And is there anything else you guys want to look at?
Go to scouting. I wanted to actually mention something. And look, Kerry, I mean, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Click on Crawford. Go back to the screen. You want to show them this. Click on Crawford.
Yes. That's what I wanted to thank you very much, Kerry.
Yeah.
The other day, and I know Mike told me this. I know. And I forgot. And I went, oh, my God, I can. 2 carries, 5 yards. And then you can also see here his strength is 7, which is good. Your rating system goes 1 to 9.
Yep.
1 being the worst.
Yeah.
9 being the best.
Brady.
That's pretty much for everything.
Yeah.
So 9 is the best. So Crawford's a strong runner. Quickness is a 6. So to me, that's average.
Right.
About lower. And speed is a 6, average. And his fumble percentage is a 2. So he has a 2% chance of fumbling anytime he touches the ball. And God, don't I love doing that inside the 10.
Yeah, I know.
Well, when making these ratings, what I do is I look at Crawford's stats.
Yep.
And I'll say out of the gate, I don't care who the running back is or the quarterback or the wide receiver or whatever. I don't care if you're Hall of Famer. I don't care if you have a bad year or you have low stats. I put that in the ratings. So I'm going to guess Crawford was averaging. This is something I found with Kerry's game. I want to say roughly. I mean, we could look it up. Probably anywhere between a 3.3 and a 3.7 was his average. So I go off of that. Now, Kerry told me the quickness is when a running back is running around the line. It's how quick they can get around the line.
Yeah.
Speed is just the burst of speed.
Gotcha.
So there isn't a statistic,
no.
there isn't a speed number or anything like that in reference to this. So I just have to, I made the whole thing along these lines. You can't, bottom line is when we make seasons, the modders make seasons, there are over 1,000 players.
It's a lot of players.
In a league, in a season. And we've made decades worth. We don't know everybody, and it's impossible even for 1 year. Even with stats can lie, and you don't have every single possible stat that there can be for every single constituency of making a rating. So what these numbers are is, it was a combination of toying around with Kerry's engine, and every engine is different. I don't care the game. I've built them for I don't know how many football games. Every engine is built different. What I found with Kerry's is, as an example, quarterback. If you got a passing rating of 3, 4, or 5, I found this out, Kerry, by toying around. And this is particular in the 50s. 3, 4, or 5 means your quarterback's going to have passing completion percentage of 30-something%, 40-something%, and 50-something% respectively.
Is that too low, or is that?
No,
that's dead on for that.
You built your engine. I deliberately do that because if I've got a quarterback rating of a 3 on passing, that means that quarterback in real life threw 30-something%. Now I'm talking about 50s, okay?
Yeah.
Now when it goes over that, when you hit 7, 8, 9, no one throws 70, 89%. What I found in your game is that when you get to levels that high, it's not just a percentage. It's other factors. You're going to be able to get a lot more touchdowns out of it. That in concert with straight, you got more yards. You're going to be lighting them up. So as an example, somebody has a passer rating of a 9 would be Dan Marino or Kurt Warner or like Tom Brady in his best years or Peyton Manning almost any year. So that's what I have found, and then you end up spitting out those results. But you got to do it in concert with all the receivers. Yeah, and you got to do so. It's such a, I mean, I just by toying around, that's what I've determined, and I start that as a base, and then I'll sim a season, and then I'll go in. Okay, well the defense is allowing too many points. I got to beat people up. Yeah. Okay, well they're lighting them up too much. I got to bring the offense down. These numbers don't jive with this guy. I'm gonna make. Well, we're gonna make mistakes out the wazoo. But the main thing is, if anybody tries to tell you that when they build a team like this, it can be a number cruncher. If everyone tells you that they're going to get everything completely right, et cetera, it's a lie. Yeah, it's a flat out lie. I'll give you an example. Fans of 2nd and 10, and if you're a Patriots fan, play the 2001 season. That was the year they beat the Rams in the Super Bowl. That team is, and these are actual numbers, the actual stats, and 2nd and 10 spits. It's a great game. I'm not criticizing, so I don't want anybody to understand because I have the game and I love it. Yeah. But if you try to play that team or you sim it, and you're going to get the similar numbers that they had in real life, they end up with losing seasons. There's no way they're going to the Super Bowl.
The one thing
it doesn't happen.
I've said this. I've talked with Ron Juckett and Dave Gardner. We've talked about this. The one thing any sim sports game cannot do. The intent, like just intangibles. Exactly. Certain things happen. You can't do it, and you're right. There are some teams that just will not play well. In a sim. I'll give you a baseball card and dice. The 69 Mets, for some reason, when I play them offline, I don't win. And I love Tom Seaver, Jerry Kuzman, all those. They don't win.
I noticed that with there's a number cruncher I played that was that the 69 team does not do well. The 86 does great. Yeah. And another example, the best baseball team I ever saw, in my opinion, that I actually saw play in my life was the 98 Yankees. And that team was such a massive powerhouse. In a number cruncher, they don't do that great. You put them up against the 09 Yankees, the 09 Yankees destroy them in a number cruncher.
Right. So
they destroy them. In real life, I can't see that. Yeah. So I incorporate what we were just talking about into these things, into these games, in that if I have to juice up, I juice up. So the 01 Patriots, for example, and I only built them for the NFL 100. We are going to build the 0-1 season. I'm going to make sure that they are a viable team to coach to potentially win. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the Rams and Steelers are going to be the best teams. But you coached because they were the two best teams, best records, some fantastic numbers. But if you coach the Patriots or if you send the Patriots are going to have a legitimate shot of winning because that's what they did in real life. And that's where you mess with the numbers to get the result. And the statistics come out ballpark.
Yeah.
As to what happened.
I'll give you an example. I have an old football game called Fran Tarkenton Football. It's a board.
Yeah. I have that one.
I've played a couple of games and I made seasons or teams, not seasons necessarily. The 1958 Giants, if you look at their stats, they're nothing special. I thought maybe
I know that. I just built them the other day, and if you saw the sim that I did the 58 championship. They got run over by Baltimore.
I was just going to bring that up because
over.
I did it card and dice with Fran Tarkenton Football. I only did a half, and I'm like, I'm not going to show. I played there. They got destroyed because you can't give. They had an intangible. Somehow they won. They're not a bad team. I'm not saying, but they're not.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Right. So
sometimes numbers lie.
Yeah.
And they do. And I remember building that team, and I had to find a fourth running back. I remember this because it's fresh in my memory. Yeah. I had to find a running back that didn't have any statistics that was on the rosters and put them in, and I had to make up ratings. Yeah. But who's going to argue with me? There are no statistics to go off of. Yeah. So that team, when I first simmed it, and I only built it last week,
right?
They were 6-6 tops. So I had to juice them up to make them a contender. And I literally juiced up. I'm looking at the numbers and I'm looking at, ratings that I had. And I'm like, I gotta fudge it and cheat them up so that they have a legitimate shot of winning. What was the West, the East. Yeah, the East. Baltimore was in the West. Figure that out. But anyway, I had to juice it up to make it somewhat realistic. You're better off using the Giants in 56. I don't think was all there. I think 59. They were actually if I remember my numbers correctly, they were the better. That was the better team.
The thing with the Giants, again, they won games. They beat the Cleveland Browns 3 times that year. 3 times. And you look at the numbers, you're like, how did they beat them once?
Right. Right.
That's with any game, any sport, the intangibles is very hard to get at. So, and our good friend Patch says, "Love."
I'm not a designer, Patch. Just to let you know, I'm a mod creator.
You're very important to me and the rest of the community because you make wonderful seasons, Mike. Don't.
Well, it's more than one of us, so I can't take credit.
No, absolutely.
There's more than one of us. I'm just a bobblehead right now talking to you. So because there are others there's more than one of us that have been involved in doing this. So it's a group effort from all of us. And I haven't even met these people. All I've done is swap emails, and everyone's cooperative. It's a group. It's been a group modding. Let's have some fun and
tremendous community.
So if I can jump in there because so this has been a solo effort for the longest time. And, that's cool. But last year turned the corner. Last year, with Mike and Lee and another fellow named John, they were my beta testers and they were giving constant feedback. And they would say, do you think you can do this? And sometimes my response inside, I was thinking, holy crap, I don't know. But they stretched me, and I really liked that. And so, for example, the whole idea of configurable schedules. And I just thought, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? And I don't remember who suggested it, if it was me or Mike or somebody said, I think somebody said, in this other game, they used CSV and simply home versus visitor. And I thought, I can do that. And then I went through my code. How do I create schedules? And so it really helped so much having their constant, excellent feedback. And I'm looking forward to that again this year because Mike, y'all going to be kind of swamped because by the time when I get it to you, it's going to already have the custom tournaments, the names file. So the names file, what that's going to be, Al, and anybody listening, is every league can now have a custom file that they draw players' names from. So you could create a fantasy league that
That's
draws,
awesome.
like Lord of the Rings or names from the 50s. I've got a file that has names from the 50s in there. You can have a names file that whatever you want. And so you can point a league to that and you can change it. So maybe I've got a career going along and it creates the draft pool using these names that you pointed to, and you might decide to change the name file. You can also now in the 2022 change the college file. Like I just provide generic like Atlanta and College Station. Well, you could change that to Georgia Tech and Texas A&M or whatever. So it's already got that. The tournaments are going to be in there, and by the time I get the first beta out to you guys, it's going to have a good lot, a lot of the packages, because you'll be able to run multiple packages. I may bring that down. I don't know whether to have a lot of packages or a few packages.
I have one quick thing, because
Sure.
I think I had asked this before to Mike. Is it possible to run like a clear out route? Like you run these guys in, and I want to run the running back to what I think is going to be a vacant spot. I call it a clear out route.
Yes, to me or Mike?
You, Kerry.
Oh, not really.
Okay, that's just curious.
Great question, and I may
No.
once you get past everything else, maybe next year.
Yeah, no. Now the first of all, thank you very much for sticking this long. I get excited. I told you I get excited.
Oh, I love it.
Is there any? Should we show some casual mode? You want?
It's up to you. Sure. So we were discussing that in the chat a minute ago, and I don't know how many folks played the old board games. To me, casual mode is a lot like the old pay dirt, which I loved. You could play a game real fast. Whereas advanced, click the Fedora. So the Fedora is a tip.
Gotcha. Yep.
To Tom Landry. Now, maybe I should bite the bullet and change that to a computer icon or something. I don't know.
I like the Fedora.
Okay, good. And so here you can switch to casual. Yeah.
Right. So what I did, you go to the Fedora. I was playing expert, and now we're going to switch to casual. And now basically what you do, because I don't really play catch, so we have plays here, and we can go running plays, middle, inside, outside. So let's Crawford's a good strong runner on the inside. Let's play. We're gonna go middle run.
And that's literally all you say to do.
So now it's 2nd and 7.
So you could look at it this way. You're still the head coach.
That's right.
You're saying, I want to do a middle run, and your offensive coordinator and or quarterback is making the decision of what specific run to do.
Now,
that's right, Mike, that's exactly right. That's a great way to put it.
They're picking the running back also.
That's right.
Yeah.
I cannot change it. So now we're gonna go. We want the coordinator, like Mike and Kerry just said, has called for a split backfield here, and they're going to give it to Garen on 2nd and 7. I wanted to run. Garen got stuffed. So now we're gonna actually bite the bullet here. They want me. We're gonna throw a ball, and it's 3rd and 7. We're gonna go pass, medium pass. They're gonna go to Graham.
Well, he's the intended receiver.
Right. He's the intended.
And if who is it? Bay Pirelli's your quarterback. If Pirelli gets flustered or he's just not open, he's either going to run for it or dump it off to somebody else.
Right. And he'll probably run because he was a running quarterback in college. Or that's what it looked like when I played a couple of his college games. So Pirelli's got time. He throws. Capoletti.
Look at that.
One Paisan to another. I love it. Capoletti to Pirelli, or Pirelli to Capoletti. I like to buy a vowel, please. That is so beautiful.
You guys might
I'm
give me
gonna
notes.
do the replay.
Replay.
Full just from notes from talking to you guys.
This is another great aspect. The replay, slow motion.
I like that.
You can do it reverse.
Have you ever done that, Al?
Al, hit scout if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, sir.
Let's look at San Diego. Look at their offensive. I mean, you can't compare them side by side, but you can compare offensive. Yeah, you've got individual players in their ratings.
Oh, you want I know what you mean.
If you go to team ratings.
Yep.
So
I could add that. I could add the ability to do a side-by-side comparison.
right.
Just like when you do new game, there's a screen there.
Yes.
I think maybe if you keep what you have here, Kerry, and you have a third button, you've got Boston, San Diego, and have a third button and say compare.
I like it.
Yeah. But okay, so San Diego, I mean, their red zone offense at a scale of 1 to 9, they're an 8. And I try to make a quote unquote all-time rating on it. Team discipline is basically how often they're penalized.
Yeah. And again,
so they had slightly more they were slightly above average when it comes to that. Ball security is generally fumbles or being able to hold on to the ball, catches and stuff like that.
So Mike, again, lower the number, the worse, higher.
Correct.
Now, that's all through the game, correct?
Yeah, the only place you want low is on an individual player where it's fumble percentage, but everything.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Home and road wins.
Very important.
What I did was,
that's right.
And this is very simple for anybody if you make your own teams. I looked at their home record and I looked at their road record, and so they played 12 season team. I'm guessing they had one home loss. Looking at this, I'm guessing they went 11-3, one home loss and 2 road losses. So what I did was, what's 7 divided into 8? Excuse me. It's 6 home, 6 road. So they probably went 5 out of 6. So what's 5 divided by 6? It's 80-some%.
Yep, that's an 8.
They got the 0. The home odds are 8.
Yep.
They had 2 losses on the road out of 6 games. It's about 75%, 7.
Yep.
And I just did that blanket for just to have some kind of symmetry between everybody, and I did that for everybody.
And all this piles up, right? Because if you're in the red zone, well, your red zone factors factor in. Is your defense tired? Like you said, the home and road ratings.
And that's another big thing. If you can tire out a defense, your offensive plays will work better. Doesn't mean they're always going to be successful, but if you can wear down, there is so much strategy in this game. And all the games have strategy, but this one, again, some people, it's different to them, so they don't understand. Yeah. I just want to get to just some really nice comments here. H2 Hofield says, you guys have the right ingredients for a sports sim.
I think it's a cute name for Waterfield. H2O.
Oh my gosh, I like that. Didn't even catch that.
But click on Boston and see 69 Mets.
Yeah. That's weird. And then Captain Carl, just one more. He says, after watching Alice Brown, will be purchased. Fun game. You can have a lot of fun with this game.
Quick, Kerry, jack it up to $99.99.
That's right.
I'm making all about this.
So you want to go to Boston, Mike?
Click Boston and see. Now you've got to compare. See, their run blocking. Their pass blocking was good. The run blocking. See, and look at their defense.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean, click on San Diego again. So all 8s, and San Diego 7 and 1-6 on Fumble. So, okay, New England's is better, not by. Both have good defenses. New England's is a little more solid. Their offense isn't as good as a step or 2 behind San Diego, but they're still incredible.
A huge difference. Boston was horrible on the road,
and you can see that.
Yeah,
that's why they're ranked at 3.
Right.
So they probably only won 1 or 2 games on the road.
Now, if in the old days you played the championship game at the better team's field. So
Yeah.
that was a big disadvantage for the Patriots. So again, that's why they got the living snot kicked out of them. Probably would have anyway, but yeah, this is so much fun. And like I said, I've made 3 teams. I understand a little bit about this, and that's amazing to me that you guys do seasons.
I know.
Seasons. I've made 3 college teams, and I'm telling you guys,
I put the bones in. I put the bones in for 3 teams every morning.
Yeah, that's incredible.
The bones, and then which is all the names, jersey number, college, draft round, and draft round and draft pick number, and if there are any statistics like punters, kickers, blah, 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 I put them all in, and I do 3 a day, and I do it until they're all done, and then I spend time doing all the team ratings, and then after that I do the individual ratings, and after that, I mean, so I think the way I'm doing it now, I'm building 2020 right now. I think I can build it in just under 2 weeks. And I think it will be approximately now, because the 50s were, with the exception of 1 year, they had 13 teams. We're all 12-team leagues. So I was able to crank them out in 4 days.
So,
and then I would spend time kicking around. Okay, let me sure if I got the ratings halfway right, so that we have a realistic results. So I was actually able to, and I'm glad it's over, because that was, the 50s could be such a mess with the limited number of players they had. And I seriously debated doing it because I knew I was going to be yanking my hair out.
You've done a great job. I've enjoyed it. Here, again, we got a couple in the chat. Steelers fan. Sorry to block you, Mike.
That's okay.
Oh my gosh.
Steelers fan says 1933. He says, just because a player matches his YQC in a sim doesn't mean he matches his rated success.
Yeah, I don't know what those mean.
Yeah, the RB.
Is that yards per catch?
Means you won't.
Can you elaborate on that, Steelers fan, so we can try to understand where you're coming from? I know that there are some like overall ratings on teams, for example. I forget what they're called. Comparative all time. Hi, Jake.
Hi, Jake.
If you could elaborate a little more, because I'm not exactly sure where you're going with this.
This one, Brad 62. How does home and road rating affect a game? Tremendously.
Yeah. So I would have to go back to my code. You know, by the way, my code is well over probably 150,000 lines easily now, maybe 200. I haven't counted it. So imagine writing a book that big, except a misspelling can cause a bug. So
right.
So I'm trying to remember, but what I remember off the top of my head is the better the rating, the higher your chance of recovering your own fumbles, and also it affects some key plays like on third downs. And also, if you've got a higher, and it's not massive because all this stuff has to add up, but right. it does play a role. I mean, if we've run sims, and if you have a home rating of 1, it shows up. And there's been teams like right here, you look at Boston, 7-3. Well, at the end of the season, they probably lost a lot more on the road than they did at home. But there are teams that actually lost more at home than ever on the road.
Here's what happened with the 63 Patriots. They had to play a play-in playoff game against Buffalo to see who was going to. That was not the best 60s Patriot team. The best 60 was the Jim Nance, was it 66, I think, in my opinion. 66 and 65 were the best. Nance had a tremendous year with them.
I was thinking 65, but
is it 60? 65?
I want to say 65.
Yeah, those were the 65 and 66 were the top-notch Patriot teams from the 60s. So Steeler fan gets back. So to me, I've played enough of these games. I know when it matters. The ratings, I've created teams. Again, only 3, so I have a little knowledge of it. Not like Mike, but I have. So Steelers fan says yards per carry and running back success rate.
Well, yards per carry, I mean, I'll even come out and say, I've toyed around with it. if on average, it also depends on the team you're playing, your offensive line versus their defensive line.
That's right.
I mean, all that comes with the equation. But as a general rule of thumb, I have found that if your running back has a rating of, I'll just go blanket, strength, quickness, and speed of 5, they're going to go in the high 2 on average, just under 3 yards a carry. When you get to 6, it's just over 3. 7 is approaching 4 or at 4. 8 is like 4.5. And you put in 9, it's like 5 yards a carry, 6 yards a carry.
9's Jim Brown.
9 is Jim Brown. And when I built it, but I will say this, it is Jim Brown if he did that in that respective year.
Right.
You know who I think the highest rated, technically is 9s all around. I know here comes the Tecmo Bowl, but 1990, Bo Jackson was averaging between like 6 and 7 yards a carry.
Right.
So he has to be the most explosive running back in the 90s. It could be, Walter Payton was out of the league, but, like Barry Sanders, nope, it's got to be, I have to make him the best because look at the yard per carry average. And you have to look at the simulation. So he's not going to lead with yards because he didn't get he didn't get nearly as many carries as Marcus Allen did that year. But
so you give the stamina rating would be much less, so he doesn't get the amount.
Well, no, you can't necessarily go off of that. It also depends on how often he's used.
Right.
Well, that's
also not fair. But you also have the complete opposite where you've got a running back who's only ran 5 times in a season and he's averaging 8 yards.
Yeah.
Well, you can't translate that as 9 for somebody who's only run it 5 times. You have to have run enough at that number to get that kind of rating. So it's a whole juggling act, and you'll never get it completely right, and you'll make some people happy, some people content, and some people will be like, "What is this?" So it's a constant juggling act. And bottom line, what I have discovered is, how does it look at the end of the regular season?
Yeah,
regular season. If you sim it, you want to be able to sim it and go, oh, look, the Bears went 15-1, 16-0. They went 15-1 in real life. 16-0, 14-2, 13-3, a worst case scenario. You want realism. You want to see Walter Payton get about 1,600, 1,700 yards like he did in real life in the ballpark. And you're not going to get every player right. You're not going to get every team completely right. You're not going to, but you want, like we were talking about numbers sometimes can lie. You want it set up. So, I mean, this is just my opinion, and other people might argue this, but you want it set up so it feels like you are watching an actual game between these two teams and in this time period. I could see Staubach pulling that play. I could see Elway doing that too in real life. I feel like I'm watching John Elway. So to me, that's the best way to go. Numbers can be, sometimes they're right on, and sometimes it's just like,
well,
this is
again.
And you have teams that have, and here's what I'm waiting to build: a 2010 Chargers.
Hey man,
the number one offense, the number one defense in the league. But their special teams were so bad that they gave up so many touchdowns. Hello,
my son Nathan.
Howdy.
Hi, Nathan.
Nathan is the one who, back in 2011, loaned me his Mac and said, "Dad, you got to pull out."
Thank you,
so
Nathan.
he's the cause of all of this, is what you're saying.
Thank you, Nathan.
I started. It was really funny because my computer was in my room, so I was trying to fall asleep in like 5th or 6th grade, and there he was just clacking away at the keyboard.
Yeah, because I would stay up. By the way, last
Till 4
night.
in the morning.
So last night my wife was out of town. Nathan was out. Well, no, he went to bed. He's smart. But so I thought, man. So I got into the groove, and this hasn't happened in a while. And so I took off work early, took an hour of vacation. So I worked from 5 till 3:30 in the morning. I'm not as young as I used to be. And so, man, and I was eating garbage and drinking coffee. So, but it was fun. Yeah, I got a lot done last night on that. So, yeah. So Nathan got me.
Sometimes it's the best. That ends up being the best time to do it.
Oh,
in a bizarre way. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
I'm headed to the bar.
Oh, have fun. So
take care.
See you, Nathan. Take care.
Good to meet y'all.
Nice to meet you.
So you brought up a good point about statistics. So the thing is, you know, if you could take real life and freeze a spot in time and go back and redo that 1,000 times. So, you know, you look at the Patriots coming from behind to beating the Falcons. That was huge. But let's say you went back and put them in that situation 1,000 times. Now, if the Falcons coached like they did and given Brady, they might still pull it out 900 times, or it might be 500. So the point is, you can't look at any one game or one season and say, oh, well, this is trash or this is why. So like you said, Mike, you know, you look at the undefeated Dolphins. You may not get them undefeated very often because that's hard. And like Al referenced earlier, there's all these intangibles that you got to deal with. But you ought to have a good season.
13-1.
Yeah, you ought to. That's right. You were 13-1. You're darn close.
Now, if you were 1-13, there'd be a question mark.
Right.
But 13-1, yeah.
I'll tell you what I love about this game. I played as the Patriots, who were not good in 1972, but they had a couple of decent players. And I'm not going to pass in passing situations because Jim Plunkett's going to throw a gazillion interceptions. I'm going to pass when it's advantageous to me as the player. And I was able to have a lot of fun. And I'm like, I'm making the playoffs, but guess what? Down the stretch they did. They pooped.
They went Fumble and Patriots on you.
Nothing worked out. So to me, it's a wonderful game. Mike, our good friend, Mr. Utah Mike, aka Sports Time Machine, do you watch video or Football Reference or something? He wants to know, like, how do you come up with the. Now, I'll tell you the way I do it. I do a little Football Reference. I have other games I take a look at to help me to get, and that's the way I've done the three college teams.
I love Football Reference, but yeah. Same here. And like Mike said earlier, you kind of look at the results, and man, it is so subjective. I wish I had a formula that would look at ratings and translate that. But the thing is, it's not just the running backs ratings; it's the offensive line and it's the coaching.
Right.
And the defense.
And there are no statistics for an offensive lineman. No,
yeah.
There are none. So, but to answer Sports Time Machine's question about video or pro strategy or Pro Football Reference, yes.
Yeah.
But there is another page, and I will throw this out because Kerry had Pro Football Reference does not have
kicking. I remember you telling.
The place kickers. Yeah. It has the statistics except their field goal long. But I found it. There's another competing website called the Football Database, and it's footballdb.com, short for database, footballdb.com. They have similar numbers, but they actually list field goal long. So I will start everything off on Pro Football Reference. And then when it comes to that, I know I got to go to see what the long was for all the field goal kickers. So I'm actually going between two pages. Now, in reference to the video, I'll tell you this. I wouldn't necessarily say I watch video in all honesty. When I started building these teams, I was doing compilations because I didn't expect anybody, including myself and other fellow mod makers, to be making seasons and to be doing what we've done. We've made literally
incredible.
We're from that. We have 1948, 1950 through 1998 right now. 1999, 2000 are under construction, and we have this season.
And they're free.
And we want to do all of them, hopefully, from 1948 is the only 1940s at this point. We want to do 1950 to this season before Kerry releases the 2022 version. We hope to, and then when that happens, we'll convert everything over, and then kablam, you've got whatever you want. But one thing I did when I started doing compilation leagues, like some great teams, is I did general research on historic aspects. So, for example, one thing I did was I did a search: who had the best offensive lines of all time? So I came up, and they were coming up sometimes with individual years, but like the Raiders from the 70s,
absolutely,
Washington from the 80s with the Hogs, the first half of the Cowboys from the 1990s. I was doing stuff for defense too. Who are the great defenses? Who are the great, linebacker cores, the secondaries, the line, et cetera, et cetera. You got the purple people eaters. You've got half of the 70s, the linebackers from the Broncos. The first half of the 90s, mid 90s, you've got the Steelers linebackers. And I do that, and I also look at, well, is this person a Hall of Famer? So if a player is a Hall of Famer, even if they may not have had the greatest of years, I might jack them up just a little bit because they're a Hall of Famer. And I also look at, one player had a breakout year, one specific breakout year. I might juice up that one player because they had that breakout year, and somebody might be actually looking at that. I want to play this guy. And I also looked at some other things, like a couple of examples. The 85 Bears. What I did, I don't know if Lee did this for the 80. He built the 85 season. I didn't, but I built the 85 Bears on the NFL 100.
Yes, you did.
I cheated on that team in that I made fullback number 2 the fridge, William Refrigerator Perry.
So you could.
The idea was, I know someone's going to be playing the Bears.
They want him to
they're going to get in the red zone. They're going to get the goal line, and they're not going to want Peyton to run it in necessarily. They're going to be digging through the roster. Where's the fridge? Where's the fridge?
Yeah.
Put it on the fridge and try to hammer it home because they want the
feed of one, but straight nine.
So, but when I did that, I think I had an extra tight end or wide receiver spot or whatever. So I want to say it was Matsui. I can't remember. I want to say off the top of my head that the fullback number 2 was Matsui. I could be wrong. I took Matsui if that was him.
Right.
And I put him in a wide receiver or tight end space that was available because they didn't have anybody, so that he's in the game. You can still play with that person. And I also did a couple other cheating. Well, 95 Steelers. If you use that team in the NFL 100, I don't think it's the case with the 1995 season. But if you download the season file, but if you download the NFL 100, if you're familiar with Rod Woodson, Hall of Famer, he got hurt week 1 against Detroit in the regular season, and they were going to put him on an IR. And now, but back then, if you put on IR, you are done for the year. And there are some stipulations where you could be on IR now, something, I forget how they phrase it, where you can actually come back. And he begged Coach Cowher, don't put me on IR, because if you guys make the Super Bowl and, I have no opportunity. So they actually didn't put him on IR. They made it to the Super Bowl. And Cowher said at a press conference, I'm not going to start. Rod Woodson will play. I'm not going to start him because we'll look at him playing. Let me rephrase that. I'm not going to start him because, this guy just came off of a massive injury, and it may be the Super Bowl, but I don't want to jeopardize his possible future in his career. So we'll consider it, but he won't start. He ended up playing. So what I did was, he didn't play the season. So what I did was I cheated a little bit, even though they had enough defensive backs. If you use that team in the NFL 100, he's the backup defensive back that's not playing. Is DB6, defensive back 6, is Rod Woodson. So for people who are familiar with it and you want to play with Rod Woodson, you can sub him in, and you've got Rod Woodson, and I've got his ratings jacked through the roof. They're higher than any other defensive back. So the history with how the roster was for the regular season, but I snuck him in there because – and if they didn't have it, but he actually had enough receptions where this was the case, like the 94 49ers and the 95 Cowboys used Deion Sanders, not just in the secondary, but as a wide receiver.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, if he didn't have enough catches and there were other wide receivers in front of him, but there weren't, I was actually able to put him in. I was going to put him in anyway, because somebody's going to say, where's Deion in the lineup? I got to throw, have Young or Aikman throw to Deion. I've got to. Come on, that's part of the fun.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was just going to say that. That is part of the fun.
Yeah, it is. So those things are there for people who know history, who know that kind of thing. So sometimes I cheated to a slight degree of the fun aspect.
Tweaked.
Huh?
Tweaked, not cheated.
Tweaked. I cheated. Because Woodson didn't play that year except for week 1.
And currently there's nothing to keep you from putting, because these are just players at slots, there's nothing to keep you from having a wide receiver that happens to have the same name as a defensive back, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, like Deion Sanders is literally entered it twice.
Yeah.
As wide receiver, whatever, and as the corner or defensive back, depending on what team he played for. So go ahead, Al.
You guys want to go a little longer? I don't mind. I just don't. I've kept you on a lot longer than I thought. So
It's past my bedtime, Al. What are you talking about?
you guys, are you cool to keep going? Or?
I'm kidding.
When we get up here, I got to go to work. You guys gave me a lot to do.
You have to go to work tomorrow morning for real?
Huh?
You work tomorrow morning?
I might work on the game a little bit.
Oh, work on the game. Oh, I thought you meant like your 9 to 5 job.
Oh, no.
First of all, we'll stay on a little longer, but thank you. I'd like to have you. We're not leaving yet, but I'd like to have you guys back on again, if that's
okay. Maybe we can get Lee on too.
Now, yes, that would be awesome if he wants to go. Now, do you want? We showed you some gameplay, a little bit of the ratings. There's so much more we can show you. It's so cool. What's coming up for 2022?
Okay, that's a great question. And what I'd like to lead with is with anyone who's listening, if you have any suggestions, because part of the problem in this game, and I really mean this, is it's got a ton of stuff. And a lot of that stuff you don't even know is in the game. You mentioned that the other day, Al.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure how to make people aware of more of these features.
There's another thing here too. There's a help screen that's actually really good.
Yeah, thank you. A user manual down there at the bottom.
This is tremendous.
Thank you. And
if you have the game, this is a good tool. It talks about ratings.
That's right.
Okay.
And there on the left, just to the left of it, are details. So under ratings, you can go look at lines or team coaching. And so, so the way it works is it's hierarchical. The left side is your main categories. And then just to the right of it is subcategories underneath that. I struggled for a good way because there's so much here. This is the best way I could come up with this. Now, a fellow actually took what I did here and he wrote a Word document that I'm going to try to include with the game next year so that if someone wants to print it out, they can.
Quick question here. I don't know if this Alex asks, can you implement kneelings in the game?
Yes, it is.
You can take a knee. I'll show you right now. It's in the game. So maybe
you know what? I've never thought. Does the AI kneel? I need to check on that.
No, the AI does.
I've seen the AI kneel.
Yeah, the AI takes a knee when and there was you did some fixes because early on it would take a knee, then would do like a running play. And then you have since fixed that where the AI is looking at the situation. Okay, now the quarterback can start taking knees.
That's right. Thank you.
You've resolved that.
Yep. So you were asking about this year. So I've mentioned I have completed the support for custom names files and college names. I've greatly improved brackets and custom tournaments so that now you can have buys and you can look at the bracket at any time during the playoffs. Now, brackets right now are separate from pro playoffs. If you actually go into what I'm going to call pro playoffs, that's where you have a wild card round, a divisional round, and so forth. Depending on your league, you might not have a wild card round, but that's different than a bracket. The bracket is where what Mike showed a while ago. So if you're playing college, you could easily create a 4-team bracket or an 8-team and so forth. So you're talking about answering that question, volume. That's a great question.
Yes, I want something, Glenn. Excellent question, because it would be nice just to lower it just a bit.
I'll do that. I'll add a volume slider
maybe, or percentage where you could just bring the sound back.
Yeah.
Because it is a little out, but I've played without the sound and I don't like it. Okay.
So one slider would be for like all the animation sounds. Is that what you're thinking? So like it would turn down
game sounds, like like they're running, they're hitting.
Yeah. I can do that.
Now for me, I turn. Let me. I'm sorry, Mike. I got to remember.
And then I'll do another slider maybe for crowd, and then another slider for music.
Well, for music, I shut off because I stream it, and I get whammied all the time. Even if it's free music, I get hit with flags, so I don't play music. I just
and Kerry and I are fully aware of that. We did a live stream like you have set up right now, Al, talking about his beta.
Yeah.
And then it kicked us out. And then it kicked us out a second time. And
so
I got copyright violations, and we're like, and I appealed to YouTube.
I own that
in both situations, and they didn't tell me why there was a strike. They were just like, okay, your videos are back up. We didn't, I mean, what was that about? So I still don't understand how we didn't play any music in the background. I mean, so we didn't show any video. It was basically Kerry, myself, and the game, literally. And we got flagged twice and without explanation. It's weird.
Yeah, so we'll look at the volume. What else were we gonna? Oh, I was going through the things we're going to be implementing. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, one of the cool things for someone do the sliders. That's a great question. So one of the things for so I'm just going to ignore the political stuff. I'll be honest. This is a sports game. It's just for fun. Yep. Not going to go there. So one of the things that I like is that you can now choose different aspect ratios of the window. There's a wider aspect, like I have an ultra wide monitor, and so I provide that. I also have now make it possible to go full screen. So for Windows, there's all these, it's got different graphics modes, and I've got that working, and I play with that a lot. It lets me test it in different resolutions. What I'm working on right now, if anyone missed this, is the rosters. Now, we want all the existing leagues to still work. So I'm still supporting the legacy 43-man roster where you have designated slots for return men. I'm going to add support for a 53-man roster. And then when I do that, we'll probably have maybe tiring more, swapping players out more. Along with this, and later we may add, Mike mentioned this, once I get it done, it may be later this year, maybe I can add support for Ironman leagues. So your team has what, 20 men, 16 men, something like that. To go along with that, I'm also going to implement two other things. One is the ability to play a player at related positions that are different. So a fullback can play at halfback.
That'd be cool.
I may penalize them just a little bit because if they're not practicing at that position, you know, I don't know. I'd love some thoughts on that. Whether just don't tweak anything, just let them move.
I'd like to when you do the single back.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to.
I'd like to use the fullback instead of the halfback for certain teams.
That's my son that just posted about buying GameStop. He's anyway. That's out. We'll talk about that later. Okay, you have
trading places yet?
Man, I swear, I wish I'd bought a ton of GameStop Monday. Oh, he says he swears he's not driving. He's hijacking the thread. Can we ban this guy?
No, I already banned one person. I didn't realize what they said.
Banned a person.
Good for you. Yeah. So thanks, Al. That's a good segue. So now what I'm going to have is the ability to have packages, and I'm going to have starters, subs, so you can immediately switch to bring in your subs. But I'm going to have another one that's your bench, because let's say you're leading 48-14, and it's the last game of the season. You don't want to risk injuring guys. So you, how about that? He's doing a sim right now, and the Bucks are beating. I hope Brady has a great game, but I hope I didn't just lose half my audience by saying that.
Click.
Oh man, Hunter's a good friend of mine. But here's the thing. Okay, back to the packages. So you got starters, subs, bench, and you just asked a great question. And I think what I'll add is a package called One Back, and you can change who's in that back.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so I'll make it
with Jim Brown. And again, I'm like, if I do this, I might be able to rush for 200 yards in a game.
So let me explain the way it would work and make sure this is what you want. So if I have my starters package, then I may have him at fullback. But when I switch, because he's the starter at fullback, but then let's say I want to, by default, if I go to a one-man formation and I have my starters in there, then I would put the halfback in that spot. But if you want the freedom to put your fullback there, by having a package, I would let you define your package to always bring in your fullback as your starter for your one-man back. Is that what you're saying?
Well, at times I'd like to just do.
Yeah, I'll make it easier to also to click on a man.
Yep.
And now what it's going to do is instead of just swapping out, it's going to bring up a dialogue of here are the players you can put at that position.
Excellent. That's exactly. So,
and then I got to move to coaching after I finish all that. And coaching is going to take at least a month because I need to add formations, play.
Kerry, if I may, when it comes to the one back, you know what you could do to make it simple? Is every team has a it's the
third down back leg.
Well, no, it's called the run usage and pass usage that we talked about.
Right.
And 0 setting is your halfback dominant. 1 setting is your fullback dominant. So what you could do is just by default,
I'll do that.
You're using that dominance when you go one back. Okay, it knows to go with the halfback or the fullback. So I'm thinking of like the Redskins from the 80s. One back, it's Riggins. You don't have to go in there. You don't have to have anybody go in there and set it up. You already have that as part of the code. Oh, it's the fullback. Who's the fullback? Riggins. Riggins is your one back. Now you can go in and change it later, but you've already got that put in the team. So
the only thing with that, though, they use Joe Washington on third downs too.
Yeah, but I mean, there's got to be. This is just a quick default, so that.
No, I agree. Riggins was the one back. I mean, that was
right. No, but I'm just saying, you're not wrong, Al. I mean, I'm just saying this would be a quick way to have. And Kerry could look at all of these kinds of things. Tight end oriented, et cetera, so that you know how to do the lineups. There is no entry. You've already got it as part of the team. You just use that as a default generic rubber stamp, and then the coach can go in and set how they want for their respective team. But
I like that idea. So what I can do is a combination of both. I can use the run usage to set it automatically and have the AI do it. But then by having this new feature I'm going to have on swapping out players and packages and all, it'll be it gives you that flexibility. And I've got a question on something. Can you do me a favor, Al? Can you click on quick play up there?
Quick play?
Yeah, and you may have already done this, but now new quick game. And now click on customize.
Yeah. Oh, this is cool. This is another cool thing.
The game setup. So what this does is, and I do this all the time, I might set myself up as down by 4, down by 4 with a minute 43. Yeah, so it's a scenario. Now, I've thought about, but this is a lot of work so I may wait and do this either in an update or next year. Provide challenges. So if you click on challenges, it would bring up some canned scenarios, like maybe like you're the Falcons, you're leading by whatever it was, 20-something points, but you're playing Brady. Can you hold on to your lead? Or maybe there's a minute 40 left and home team is losing.
The drive.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's a popular one with other, like the drive.
So I can challenges. So that's something to think about. Another thing people have asked for that I think I will be adding this year is the ability to mix your passing trees. So if I call a medium pass, I'm going to throw a medium pass, but I can mix in some guys running shorter routes and a guy running a longer route.
Yes, that would be that's almost that would make up. No, not make up, but yes, similar to like you can't do clear outs, but that would be great. So if that guy running the medium slant, say you have a good quarterback and he can read it. Well, I'm going to dump it down to this other. That would be awesome.
I can do that. And then like you said, and one of the key attributes on quarterbacks is leadership. And so if a guy is if the quarterback is really being harassed, I saw Sports Time Machine's comment there, but if a guy is being harassed, a quarterback, if he has a high leadership rating, and if you notice that his receiver is double teamed, he's more likely to throw off to someone else than a quarterback who doesn't have
the leadership rating is because we asked the question earlier. So leadership rating with the quarterback, that gives him the ability, the ability to say, oh, that guy's covered, I'm going elsewhere.
Yeah, and he will try better to avoid a sack. And also, if you're in the red zone, if he's and also if he's losing, slightly, and I want to emphasize this is slight. So, for example, Brady is not guaranteed to always come from behind, but because he has a very high leadership rating, typically, he has I would rather have Brady on my team than to have a quarterback with a average leadership.
This is great stuff because you and Mike are explaining the engine. I can only do it.
Yeah.
In certain years with certain players, what Kerry just said is exactly what I do.
Awesome.
John Elway is going to be a leader.
Yes.
Tom Brady is going to be a leader.
With Johnny,
Dan Marino is going to be a leader.
Johnny, to a point, would be Johnny Unitas.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Except when he played the Jets, but yes.
Yes.
So that was actually Morrill for almost all the game.
Oh, I did not know.
Yeah, because Johnny Unitas got hurt early in the year. Morrill was throughout the entire regular season. Played in the Super Bowl. They brought in Unitas. It was 16-0. They brought in Unitas at the very end. He got a touchdown, but it was too late.
The interesting thing about that Super Bowl was the turning point. They ran this flea flicker play that worked to pretty good success in the year. It's the only time Earl Morrill threw to the wrong guy.
Oh man!
There's a famous in
he's standing here waving like this.
He's wide open.
Oh my God!
Earl Morrill, because of the way that maybe the pass rush came, he was like he locked onto the other guy. I think he threw a pick. I don't know. But famous picture: Jimmy Orr's jumping up wide open, up and down, waving his arms. So, but this is really excellent stuff. The other thing, and then we go. You've been talking about adding. I did a little make believe if pictures were added, photos of players, and I thought it was really cool. And that's something you're working on to add. Not meaning the game, the individual person would have to, like with other games, could load real photos. So how would that work? You would hover over the player.
Okay. I'm glad you asked that because I hadn't gotten there yet. So let's discuss, player cards, and then I've got some stuff for career.
Okay, you go in the order. I'm sorry.
That's a great question. So first of all, let me answer Dave Gardner's question real quick. Dave, currently you can only trade draft picks. You can't. So I can trade draft picks 3 years out. So I can give you my first round to take, or maybe I want your first round, so I give you some stuff this year and the following 2 years. You can do that, but you can't trade players right now, and that probably, looking at my list, that won't make it this year.
Wow.
But I am doing a lot this year, so I hope you'll still enjoy it. So Al asked a great question about player cards. I am 98% sure, 98.5% sure player cards and coach cards are going to be in this time. I want them. And what they'll be is any place, whether it's on the play calling diagram or on a stat screen or anything, you'll be able to click on the.
If I click, let's just say hypothetically, let's go to Scout, and again, it doesn't have to be. I just want to.
Change that to like offense.
Yep. So probably should just take offense. Say I wanted to look Kirk Cousin.
Right. So depending on your mode, because you might be just an exhibition play, season play, or career play. So depending on that, a card will come up, and at a minimum, it will show that player's name and all of these attributes, as well as some things you don't see here. And I can give you an example of that in the editor. So let's click back out of here.
Yes, sir.
And all the way to the home screen. So cancel.
So here.
Yeah, and then just bring up any league you want to look at. Click Edit League. I know, and I would love to clean these up if you want. Click on Edit Teams and Players. Pick any team you want to look at. Now, on the very top where it says Team Overview, change that to Offensive Players. Come down a few more. Right there. Now, click on Graham.
Autogram.
So this is what the card will roughly. So it'll look roughly like this, except it'll be read-only. And it would have 3 tabs. So it would have this tab, which is the ratings, maybe more tabs. It would have another tab that is his game stats. If you're in a game, you know, if you're just scouting, you wouldn't see that. But if you're in a game scouting, you would. And then if you're in season, it would show his season stats, not counting this game, because until you save this game, you might cancel. And it would show his career stats, not counting this game. So that's my goal, is to, at a minimum, though, I will have this in there. But I want to, and then somewhere else, I've got to figure out where to put it. It will have a rectangle that when I ship, it will have a simple default, graphic. But Mike already has all the images ready to go in place. So when you bring up Autogram, it will show his photo in that probably the upper left corner.
That's awesome, because I think your game already has, thanks to yourself and Mike and Lee and other a couple other folks, so much immersion. And now if you could really, because some people most of the players I know what they look like. But it's so cool if you could sit there and someone else go, "Oh, that's what Steve."
Oh my gosh, you just made a great point. Real estate is always an issue, but what if I showed their picture on the rows where I'm showing the names? Now it makes those rows taller, but cancel this. Now see this row of names? What if I made those rows tall enough to put a picture
right next to it?
Yeah,
like Autogram. You'd see Autogram, Lewis.
Yeah,
that would be
awesome. Do it on both of them. You could do it on the row, and when you click, Al, can you do Autogram again? I wanted to let everybody know this. I believe that Lee does this too, but I do this because when I'm on Pro Football Reference trying to figure out how to rate a player, unless there's a typo, and I'm a human being just like anybody else, Autogram was jersey number 60. He was 29 years old this year. He was picked in the first round, 4th overall, and he went to Northwestern. I literally have that for every single player that I've entered in, unless I made a mistake or, I looked at the wrong player or a typo, stuff like that. What was I going to say?
The picture, we're talking photos.
All of that, short of a typo or just human error, is literally correct.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's something you do not see in the game. Kerry had it in the original code. I didn't know if he would ever use it. I know he used it here. There was actually another something else that didn't convert over to 2021 from 2020 that I put in anyway. Kerry had a field on the CSV for years in the league.
Oh,
and I was originally putting them in, but
that's a good idea.
But you already had that, Kerry. This is what we talked about in reference to graphics that I was just going to throw out.
Okay.
Well, it didn't convert over, and they were all zeros. And Kerry's like, I don't even use it anyway. But then when we started talking about new graphics, one of the things we discussed was the graphics are going to be redone. Now might be a time to do skin tone of the players.
Yes.
You can't do it now with the existing build. But if you're going to do new graphics, add skin tone. So it would be that field that he has if Kerry wants to use it. I don't know if he's going to use it, but it could denote skin tone, meaning you are a lighter complexion or a darker complexion, and you could do it for every single individual player so that all 11 on 11, you would see the respective skin tones to as part of the player. I know Kerry's considering it for the next graphics build.
Yeah.
I might have to double the graphics to do it, and it's going to take I don't know, Kerry, but so it would be something like a 0 would be, say, darker tone, and a 1 would be lighter tone. So and you would just go 0 or 1.
In other words, like Jim Brown, African American.
Right, correct. Would be a default 0. Right. I'm just being hypothetical for a darker tone. Correct. and Joe Montana would be a 1, a lighter tone.
Right.
Okay. So that way, skin tones of all the everybody could be represented. Now, that is going to be super time consuming for us to mod.
Yeah, but
so
Yes.
if Kerry's able to implement it, I don't know how long it's going to take for us to do it for everybody.
But if you may not have to do it, maybe the individual who downloads the mod season can go in.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But we would like to offer something as historically actually correct as possible to the public as modders. In a perfect world, we don't want the general public to do anything. Download it, drop it in, go, and it's right.
So a couple things on this. First of all, I've hired a girl to provide some newer graphics, but it's been a year now, so I'm not optimistic that the new ones will be in there. I hope they will, but even if she completes them, the longer it goes, because I'm going to have to write code to handle them. They're different sizes. They're going to be in different sprite sheets. They're going to be different numbers of levels. So at this point, I'm thinking her images probably going to be next year. That said, I think, Mike, that someone like Lee could go create a layer of just, because if you think about it, the skin tone that's in the game right now is the face and the arms.
Right.
He could create another layer that has just that on there and then slightly darken them. And we could ship that. And then if a player is darker, then, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to do this year, but conceptually I have the idea that if I go put down a player like Jim Brown, and I look at his attribute and it says he's darker. Yeah, so see right there, it really is primarily the arms.
Yep.
It's kind of hard to see inside the helmet.
It is, but I could make it so that I can lay that down on top of his individual image. I think, we don't know, that is something that will eventually get in the game. Maybe this year. I'm not promising that because it's hard, but it will be in the game either this year or next year. In fact, it could even be in an update later in the fall if possible. So,
well, Kerry, just the mere fact that, I think I speak for everybody, the mere fact that you listen to your customers,
it's incredible,
and you at least consider what is being pitched to you for what they want, alone sets you apart from most other programmers and game makers.
Well, thank you.
So, no, thank you, because boy, is that a breath of fresh air. So, and we know it's just you on your free time. So I think what you did 2021 over 2020 alone was like, people are like, whoa, this is in the game now? Holy cow. And you did that by yourself, Kerry. I mean, that's amazing. So I don't think people are going to hold it against you if you give us A, B, and C, but we don't get X, Y, and Z in the next version. Because everybody knows your situation. You're such a kind man. You're giving us something that's so incredibly fun that it's worthy of our time, and it's worthy of us sticking with you. And like I jokingly said before, I'm not retired, if you will, but I came out of retirement of modding.
Yeah.
Making teams for games. I did it in the 90s for various. I actually had I made teams for Front Page Sports Football.
Front Page, yep.
And I actually got contacted by the company for the 1998 version because I had made all these historic mods, and they actually contacted me, said, "Would you be willing to make the league for us for the 98 version?" And I had to turn them down because I was so busy with my job, and it took me so long just to make those teams. I'm like, I'm flattered. I can't. I don't have the time. So they had somebody else do it for them. But and I was just done. I was, in a lot of the games I was just wiped out with. But I saw the progress of your game over time. I was just casually looking into it, and a few versions ago, I saw it got to the point, well, I'm actually going to buy it. I want to take a look at this and kick the tires on it. and I saw the custom how customizable it was, and I decided to make from the data I had before historic teams again. And I did it in a limited capacity, just to get something out and have some fun. And then I stumbled across the modders who were making amazing artwork, and I approached them. I was like, "Can you guys give me a hand if I build these teams? I'm building them now. I was just going to have generic colors,
Right.
actual colors, and no logos, nothing." And they were like, "Yeah, what do you need?" I was like, "Well, okay, I'm building these, and I'm going to give you all the specifics. Can you actually build all these different areas?" And they were like, "Yeah, we can do that," and they did. I was completely floored. I'm like, "Oh my god,
Incredible!
this is amazing,
Man."
The one quick thing, then Kerry, you can go through the list, and then I'll swear I'll let you guys go because I kept way too long. There's people have made fictional leagues, the graphics, and they offer it. You go to the
No.
and if you want to download it, and again,
Yeah, there's one out there, some kind of Irish team. Oh my god!
yes, I've seen that."
There's one they made like monster players, but with monster names.
Yes.
I saw the print screen, the photo. It's incredible. But go ahead, Kerry, and then before we leave, I'm going to put up Mike's site with a lot of all the mods actually.
Yeah,
and other.
Yeah, like you said, we'll meet again, and so I'll have an update then. So I've got a wish list. Not all these are going to make it, but if I look over there, my wish list. Next would be coaching options, and then the player cards and coach cards. I want to add more stats and stuff. I want to constantly improve the AI and the animation. So while you're testing it, I want input on them.
Great improvement on that too, by the way.
Right. I want to make it. I already can lose games to the coach, so that's good. But I win more than I lose. I want to make it where every victory for me is tight, because if it's tight for me, then I know it's going to be tight. Now, if you make it too tight, people may get frustrated. But I want you to feel like you won a game, not that you were given a victory. But then that brings up career, because some people are more into the career side. So I'm planning on adding a waiver draft. I don't know if you know this or not, but when you play a season or a career, you can choose your postseason format. So you might say, I want 2 wild cards, or I want 4 wild cards. Well, I've been asked to add some more options, so I'm going to do that. One of the things people ask for is the ability to have a fantasy draft, to where you take a league, but then you remove every player from every team, and you start off creating teams from that draft pool. I may add that. And then I'm saving one of the, and then there's these gameplay things. I'm going to save one of the best things for last that Mike had suggested. In terms of gameplay, Mike has suggested playing an exhibition game between teams from different leagues.
Oh, I'd like that.
So I am going to add that.
Yeah.
He's also given me a great example of some things to do for an enhanced pregame. I'm going to add that. I'm going to add, because this is what I love, when they give me easy stuff that has high value. So like one of the things they said was, I want team-specific championship end zones. So if Dallas is in the Super Bowl, I don't want to just see Dallas. I want to see the Dallas Super Bowl 10 end zone.
That's cool.
So I'm going to provide for that. You will now be able to customize the field images, which are the chains, the down markers, and the footballs. And now, saving the best for last is, I don't know if everybody's going to want this, but it sounds pretty cool, is what Mike calls a TV mode. So let's say you're playing a season or a career, and you simulate, and let's say your primary team is New England.
Yeah.
And you say, I'm going to do this in TV mode. So you tell it to simulate all the other games, but don't tell you the results. And now you go in and you're watching your game, or you're coaching your game, either way. You will periodically get results from your game. So let's say
that's cool.
Into the first quarter, you'll get a list of, hey, at the end of the first quarter, it's San Diego 10, Denver 14.
Just like that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And another thing that would go along with that is, I want to go now review one of these played games. I don't know who won. So I step through the highlights, and all I'm watching are the highlights. And then I don't know the end until I get to the end. And this is going to be optional. Not everybody wants it, but I think it sounds pretty cool. That is
cool, because the other thing, and if you could, right now with the highlights, which is a tremendous fun part of the game. You can go back and watch the highlights. Could it possibly add a few more types, like big plays?
Absolutely. In fact, I saw one where you said to add.
It was a fake field goal. I said, I'd love to see that over. Or what's something that, like, if it's a big run, that was something that could be determined a big. Obviously, not everything, but something unique that's fun to watch over, because I love watching. There's so many great aspects in this game that I haven't even touched upon, that I come across all the time. And again, I hope to have both of you back on.
Absolutely.
If you want to come and we can talk more about it. I want to say thank you very much.
Thank you
to Kerry and Mike. Great game. Thank you for your son to give you that laptop to get you doing it again. So Nick, thank you very much if you're still watching. Mike,
and not driving.
And not Mike and the other mod creators and the graphic people. What a wonderful community. But before, and then I'll let you guys have the final words. I kind of messed this up when I was doing it, because I'm pretty sure it came across the screen. Everyone saw. This is Mike's website right here. And God, fudge knocker, I screwed that up. Okay, let's just
while you're looking for that, I want to mention something to Kerry that I just dawned on me. What we talked about, the sports ticker, that once you start the second quarter, it's going to tell you just occasionally results of the first quarter of all the other games in the week.
Yeah.
What you could do is have the game, because everything's already sent.
Yep.
You know how you can click a highlight?
Yes.
After the fact?
Yes.
What if you had a little box that came up and it said update and it told you the matchup? You have to click it. And when you do, it shows us, immediately takes us to like they'll toss to New York, and then, Brent Musburger or whoever it is, look at what's happening with San Diego and Miami, and they show a play. It could be the highlight.
That would be awesome.
Click on that, and then all of a sudden there's San Diego, Miami, and you see San Diego score Miami, and the score pops up, and then it goes back to your game. I don't know how complicated that would be, but if you've already got all that data already because you simmed it in TV mode, that would be like literally you're coaching and you're watching it on television at the same time.
That would be sweet. So I see the pop-up, and I can
it will just say update.
But if I want
randomly doing it for whoever scored in a game, you have it randomly come up during the quarter, and you have the option of clicking it, and then it just goes to that highlight. That's all it is graphically showing you the highlight, and then you go back to your game.
I've added it to my list. You guys,
boy, would that make people go nuts? It's like, oh my gosh, I'm watching this on television. It's like I'm watching it on TV. It's like that. If you remember the game,
a lot of that is data. Yeah, exactly. A lot of that is data, and I've just got to write the logic. So that's the kind of thing I could even add in an update. So I hope to have TV mode working, and then we'll see if I have how much I have ready. I'm thinking, when do most football games try to get released? I'm thinking at least the week of the first game, right?
Yeah, in August.
Okay.
They try.
So mid-August, late August, what should I shoot for?
When it's ready, it's fine with me.
I'd rather have it in October and running like a clock than get it in August and it's a buggy mess.
No, so my goal is I'm thinking either the last week of August or the first week of September. Then I've got to work my way back, and I'm going to say, okay, let's say it's first week of September. Then I think we quit adding any features in there, mid-July or something, and we just focus on small tweaks. Yeah. And
people would rather have a solid object, even if it's got not as many features, than feature-ridden, and half of them don't work.
And
they're going to love the features anyway, right? They're going to love.
You've always done a great job with. Again, I had it before, and then the last 2 seasons I picked it up. It's always improved. The updates have improved everything, so it's always been wonderful.
Thank you.
So this is Mike's mod site. And I put the link in the chat, and this is awesome. So these are the seasons, but there's like great teams leagues, but then to the left, you have seasons. Now, some of these are generic. I think the CFL is generic.
No, I think that literally is. Someone offered it up to me, and they said it's literally the 2019 Canadian Football League.
Okay, so this is,
and same with the XFL.
The XFL's not is accurate also.
It's supposed to be accurate from what I was told.
Yeah. Okay, but there's some. So here are all the seasons that have been made.
I want to propose something. What if one time you have us on, Al?
Yes.
And Mike walks through this, shows people all the stuff he's got in here, but not only, and then maybe even shows them how to download and install one.
That'd be awesome. I've done a video. It's long because, but no, that'd be awesome because what I've done, I did it over and over again because people asked me to do a video.
Okay.
And again, loading takes 2 minutes, and I'm stretching
that. And when you download the file, all you do is unzip it. It has everything you need in, and there's a README file.
Yep.
The README file will take you step by step, and it's not a whole lot to do.
No, it's very
step on installing it.
The year before,
includes if you have a tablet, if you use an iPhone or an iPad. Yeah. You can install these if you have the game on your iPhone or iPad. It will work.
It's we can do that. We will do that. That's a great, because people will watch mine. Again, I went long. I made it a 20. I kept doing it over. Well, look, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. Because people wanted to know a couple of pieces. My quick question is, I just forgot something.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were talking about the NFL, the CFL, the XFL?
Yeah, and then you were pointing out individual seasons. You'll notice on the left, you see all the helmets.
I love that.
Or the logos.
Yes.
I did that because some people may not remember the year. They just remember the matchup. So what year was this? And then if they just scroll, okay, what those images are is the first team is who won. The team next to them is who their competition was. So, for example, 1961 NFL, it's the Packers and the Giants, and you know the Packers won. Okay, 1961 AFL, you can see it's the Oilers and the Chargers, and the Oilers were the champion that year.
Okay, gotcha.
And what's on the right, where it says 70s decade, 80s decade, 19, that's what that is it's a compilation.
Yep.
It is one team from each franchise of that decade, and it's considered basically, most people consider the best team from that franchise for that franchise. So, for example, 70s, 77 Cowboys is the Cowboy team that's on it. It's only one Cowboys team. There's one for every team, and the helmets denote who won Super Bowls in that decade.
I got to download that one.
That's just so much way of
those league file are so much fun because you get the what if matchups.
Oh yeah, I want to play. Maybe the Raiders against. Well, I guess you could play the Raiders against Miami. You would just have to use a tournament.
Yeah, but the other great thing, there are times when I'm eating lunch at work, I just go here, Mike, just to stare and look at. I love the helmets. It's just.
And you'll notice the helmets that have numbers on it. Our mod or graphic artist, the number he puts in there is always the year of that team. I don't know if you caught that.
No, I didn't.
So if you look at AFL 1964, look at the 64 Chargers helmet. It says 64.
Oh, if they
go to AFL 65, their helmet says 65.
That is cool.
If you go to the Washington football team in 2020, their helmet number is, well, you won't see it here because
you have to go.
Their helmet is
20.
Number is 20.
Yeah. Right. What I wanted to show people is these are all the seasons, and they cost exactly.
Yeah.
They cost you your time to download it and install it. There's your cost.
Watch this. I'm not going to, because I have all these, but so I want to download.
Oh, and folks, in case y'all don't know, this is everything. This is when Mike and Lee create these things, it's the league with all the players' names and ratings in them.
It's everything.
Images and schedule. If you want to play, I played the 1975 schedule. Now, you don't have to, but it's pretty cool to be able to do that.
Yeah, we actually put in the actual schedules. And if Al scrolls down a little bit more, there are, I'm going to explain 3, and there's one of them. Look at 1982. It's got an asterisk.
Oh, yeah.
We included both the actual 9-week strike season. But if you wanted to play this league as if there was no strike and what their actual 16-week schedule was, you have the option of playing that too.
I'm actually playing
Same
that
thing for 1987.
That's great, Mike.
1987. Now, it's not shown here, but on the very bottom is the 2020.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
the top and the bottom. If you download the 2020 season, which is updated after the regular season for this year, Kerry's game comes with the 2020 schedule, which is what the NFL had before the pandemic. We actually included, if you wanted to, there's a schedule that comes with that is called the pandemic schedule.
Yeah.
And that's all the modifications that the NFL made in their schedule in real life for this season. So like the first game that was postponed was the Titans Steelers. Well, they don't play the same week that the season that came with Kerry's game, because that's what was listed before. So if you wanted to do literal reality, you can play the pandemic schedule and you will have the Titans and the Steelers have a bye week that week. And then like 3 weeks later, they play each other. So so you can play either way. And again, with the strike season, same thing. And another note with the 87 strike season, I mentioned the 1950s was hard to do because of a lack of players. 1987 was very hard to do as well because I had to weed through strike
the people who played.
I did not want strike players in this game.
Yeah.
I wanted strictly actual players. The only time, there's one exception. I made a mistake with the Colts somewhere. I actually have a strike player as like wide receiver 2 or 3. I think it's the only one I slipped on. Aside from that, the only strike players that are going to be in 87 is if a team only had 1 kick returner or 1 punt returner instead of 2. Well, with the strike players, somebody returned punt. So I cheated, if you will, Al. I know you don't like to do, but I put in that strike player for punt return too. Short of that, you're not going to get, was it the Redskins had, Washington had the quarterback in the Dallas game was the guy that they took. Remember this Kerry, the guy from prison? They actually brought him out of prison. It was a Monday night game, and they destroyed Dallas. And then after that, they took him back to prison. Well, that guy because he was. You don't remember that, Kerry?
No, I didn't remember.
Monday night game. If you look it up on YouTube, it was a Monday night game, and Dallas had most of their starters, and
Dallas players
destroyed them with their backup, with their scrub players, and the guy that was quarterback, they brought out of prison to play, and then they put him back when the game was over. It's a true story.
The Cowboys had crossed. They already decided because that was an important game. They had Brackley had their whole team. The Washington players refused to. No, we're not coming. So they played with their strike players. Now they were told if Washington made the Super Bowl, they would get something. And at the end, the owner didn't want to give it, but they guilted them into. You promised us that if we got you your because they
got a ring, didn't they? They got a ring.
I remember they got.
I hope so.
Washington, other teams didn't take it seriously. Washington said there's going to be a strike. The owner, right? Whoever I don't remember who the owner was, and he said, "I want to put together the GM." Probably.
I know you, Matt. Yeah.
I want to put together the best team we can because these games are going to matter. And they put together the best team they could, and they beat the Cowboys. Now, granted, the Cowboys had in practice, but they were the regular Cowboys. I think 80% of their team, if not more, and they got beat by the strike players.
It's pretty embarrassing.
I remember watching.
Look it up on YouTube, Kerry. It's a hoot.
Because I thought
Washington beat them up with their strike players. In reference to that, there were 3 teams that won all their games with strike players: Washington, Chicago, and San Francisco.
Wow.
And I saw a YouTube video on this, and it was really interesting. Talk about 87. If there were no strike games and they didn't have substitutes during that period, and they played the games that the NFL actually had, so it would have been it would have been a 12-week season.
Right.
If they didn't have the strike play because if 1 week there was no games, and then 3 weeks they had strike players. If they didn't have the strike players at all, they didn't play any of the games. There was a YouTube video on this. It was interesting. In the end, it wouldn't have mattered because every single team that made the playoffs, won the division or world wild card, would have fell into the exact same category. They would have won the division, they would have been the wild card, and they would have had the exact same seedings, every single one of them. So in the end, it really didn't matter.
Wow.
It was really interesting video. I forgot how I stumbled across that, but
that's awesome stuff. So this is your site. Great. Everything in it. And here's a cool thing before we just, we'll end it shortly, but I was talking about some of these. Oh, there's some how-to videos. So, but where is it? I think it's links. And there's all this.
Yeah, if somebody has their own site or their own graphic set that is not native to what I'm working with the modders that I'm working at,
right?
It's not like we're some kind of exclusive whatever. I mean, we have our stuff set aside as our stuff,
right?
But I am absolutely open to, you got a mod. Okay, it's sound. Okay, well, can you give me some information? Okay, I'll put a link to our webpage, and I've done that. And some people have created different graphics. We have a Tecmo Bowl mod that turns that makes it look like Tecmo Super Bowl. And there's some stadium sound. And people come up with different sound effects, cheers, whatever. If you go to the NFL 100, that's not under seasons, if you don't mind, Al. This is a 100-team league file. It literally has 100 teams.
Man,
and the idea behind this was in the spirit of last year, the NFL did the NFL 100, and they did 100 best players, 100 best this, that, and the other. They actually did the 100 best teams. Well, I didn't put in all of the teams that were in the NFL 100 in from the NFL. What I did was I put in the majority of them, and I also filled in with some other great teams like 86 Broncos, 86 Browns, 98 Vikings. Oh, actually, they were in the NFL 100 too. But and I made sure that every franchise had at least one team in there. I mean, I put the 62 Dallas Texans in there. Now, one thing though is some of the teams that are on there were like from the 30s. And what was it, 36? I'm trying to remember the exact year. At some point up to 1930 something, there were no statistics kept whatsoever. None. There's no data on how well that you can look at how well players did. And so I don't know how, and it was basically only a dozen or so players on that team. So I have no, and a handful of them made the actual NFL Films NFL 100. I don't know how in the world we could do something like that. So I couldn't literally do it. But I in the spirit of that, and I actually have a schedule, but everybody's games are either all home or all away. But I actually do have a schedule that actually physically works in here, and you can play everybody in a 16-week season.
Now,
just to offer something. I mean, you could just download this and have all kinds of great matchups.
I play this offline too. So now watch. This is how easy. I'm not going to I'll go almost all the way to. So you click download. This comes up. You go.
Well, if you're not logged in, you're not going to see that. If you're not logged, this is off of Google Drive. So if you log out of Google Drive, you can't because you're on YouTube. It uses your Google.
But let's just say they're in Google. You have to be in Google.
Okay.
Now you go. You don't download from here. You go right here.
If you're not logged into Google Drive, in the middle of the screen, there's going to be a blue button that says download.
And you can download that way.
And then, you download that way. And then you might be told, hey, this can't scan for viruses. It may not be secure, blah, 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 blah. It's fine. And then you go ahead and say, yeah, download it anyway.
So now I'm going to click. So again, let's go back. We were here. We clicked on this. This screen came up. I'm in Google. So I'm going to go download.
And this is what I was talking about.
Now,
you can't scan for viruses.
So now I can just tell you personally, there's nothing wrong with this file. I have it. There's nothing wrong with any of these files.
You can always scan them once they're on your computer.
Yes.
And some virus protection, it will scan it before you even allows you to access it.
So
Yeah.
I have Norton, for example. After a few moments after downloading something, if it's something it's malicious, it goes, nope, quarantining it.
Yep.
Nope, you can't have it.
So I'm going to click download, and it's going to download.
And NFL 100 is going to take the longest amount of time because it's got the most graphics.
So as this going, I just thought of something really cool. We could sim the Super Bowl 100 times right now and see who wins.
Yeah, if you have the latest.
Actually, you don't have to. Well, yeah, you hit analyze game.
That's right.
Yeah, and there's 100 or 1,000.
Yeah, and what I would do is I would set the weather to clear to make sure that there's nothing there.
For ha-has, before we end this,
so go into game settings first, and let's turn off home field advantage since it's neutral. So go to realism and turn off home. Turn that off. Oh, yeah. And now close. And now go to customize. Just change the weather. So click on that. It's good. So just finish this.
And I will note that Tampa Bay is the home team.
Yeah, which I.
So go pick your teams. That's right. So change Minnesota to Tampa.
Right. We're going to go to Tampa.
So click on Minnesota.
Yep.
And this is the 2020, the final release of 2020. Al, is that correct?
I do believe so. Let's just look at it. Let's look at it.
If you click on it, then we can check after the fact.
Scout.
Well, no, not. Well, it should be. I mean, I'm looking at offhand. This looks right.
I'm surprised Brady's completions are so low, but
he was not bueno in the beginning of the year.
Well,
okay.
And again, as I noted before, when I make some of these ratings, Brady is the GOAT. But how is he this year? How did he do this season? So it's got to be reflective of how he did this given season.
So go ahead and click the back button at the bottom, and so click them again. This may be annoying, but you got to go back.
No. What I'll do is to make sure, because I have it.
Okay.
I have it. So I'll just.
Go into that.
Switch league.
Yeah, no. You're right. The 2020 NFL final is correct.
Good.
Okay, because I've been playing just
exhibition. That's correct.
Okay,
that is correct.
New quick game. We're gonna sim the Super Bowl result.
Yeah.
So do I probably have to go back in?
No. Just go
change Minnesota to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And select. And then change Dallas to Kansas City. Now, click on Analyze Game, run 1,000 sims, and let's see what happens.
This is another cool aspect of this game. It's a lot of fun.
Kansas City has a slight edge, 53 to about 47.
Yep.
Look at that. Kansas City by 1 is the point spread. Wow, pretty close.
Yep.
Now, what you can do is go run it again. Oh, do me another favor. Go click thanks and go back and let's go to game settings again.
Game settings. Customize.
Yeah. No. Down
on the bottom, that's in yellow right now.
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Turn off allow injuries because let's don't count on injuries right now. And click close. And now let's run that again. So click analyze game.
1,000 times.
Yeah. It's still about the same.
It's roughly the same.
So they think that statistically Kansas City wins more games, but only by an average of 1 point. So it sounds like it'll be a close game.
Yeah. That's another really fun, really cool thing. This game has so many fun tools and just great things. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's Mike.
Super Bowl predictions. Let's hear them.
My Super Bowl predictions?
Everybody.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah.
I think Kansas City pulls it off. I think Mahomes. I think it's going to be very close. If Tampa wins, if I'm Tampa, I want to. This is not brain surgery. I want to limit the touches of Mahomes in that offense.
Absolutely, yeah.
They might score quick. I don't care. I'm going to limit their touches. I want to control the clock.
Yeah.
Could they win in a shootout? Yeah, but I've also seen Brady. He played very well in the playoffs. But I remember him in the beginning of the year. Now, again, he could play. You could say, oh, his arm's in shape now and this or that. And he just got in a groove. I want to limit their touches. Tampa Bay can run the ball. You can run on Kansas City. The Patriots proved that. You can run on Kansas City. I'm not saying it's the end all be all. I want to limit the touches.
I agree.
If they touch the ball, less opportunity to score. They're going to score. I'm not saying they're not going to, but you limit their touches. That being, it's going to be a close game. And if Brady wins, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm over. He's gone. That's they got to limit their touches. You can run on Kansas City is a very good team. You have to limit their touches. The Bucks have hit their stride. They're playing really well. The only thing that's going to hamper the Bucks is their coach. I'm not a big Bruce Arian, whatever. I'm not a big fan of his or his offensive coordinator because I think at times you gotta limit the touches, run the ball. I'm not saying run a gazillion, but they have a good running game. Use it. Make them stop you. The more they use their running game, they will wear down that Kansas. I watch the Patriots do it, and they're not good. They're not good, the Patriots.
Yeah.
So I watch them do it. So, all right, Mike, you go. Then Kerry
I'll
go.
go let Kerry go.
All right, Kerry.
So my heart is with Tampa Bay simply because in my eyes, they are the underdogs, and it would be cool to see Brady win again. But my brain, if I had to bet money, it would be with Kansas City. I agree with you 100%. I think if you can control the ball and keep them, off the field as much as you can, that's going to do several things. It's going to start frustrating them, and it's going to wear down their defense so that if you can go into the fourth quarter and if they're tired and you get Brady the ball in a close game, you can win. So, yeah, if I had to bet, I'd bet on Kansas City, but I'd like to see Tampa Bay win it. How about you, Mike?
I don't have a favorite team that I think I would like to see. I would argue that Kansas City, they already have this insane offense. Last year, their defense was kind of meh until the second half of the season. Then they clicked. This year, they've definitely clicked. And I think win or lose the Super Bowl, I think this Kansas City team's better than the one that won last year.
Wow. Yeah.
That being said, they remind me of, they kind of remind me of the Greatest Show on Turf. They kind of remind me of the 99 Rams, only the quarterback can scramble. I think Warner was a better thrower than Mahomes, but Mahomes definitely makes up with his scrambling ability. That guy will take off for 25 yards in his sleep. Tampa Bay has a great defense. They have, and I agree with the Bruce Arians aspect, Al. I think Reed's going to be a better coach than Arians. But that being said, I think back to the Steelers-Cowboys Super Bowl 30. I'm sorry, the Cowboys, if Jimmy Johnson were coaching that team, they would have won 4 Super Bowls. They would have beaten San Francisco the year that San Francisco beat the Chargers, in my opinion. I think Dallas would have won 4 Super Bowls, and the Super Bowl against Pittsburgh, which Pittsburgh could have and should have won. I think if it was a Jimmy Johnson coach team, Pittsburgh would not have been in that game. But the thing is, Dallas did win. And the Arians thing, I stop right there, and I think of Tom Brady along the lines of, say, Troy Aikman. Brady's the one on the field calling the shots. He's the one throwing the ball. He's the one that's a team captain. He is one of, if not the greatest quarterback in history. And he has got some familiar faces with him. He's got Gronk with him. He threw to Antonio Brown a little bit last season before he got cut. So I still think that's hilarious. I don't disagree with the cut. But he's got some familiar weapons. And they're on a roll. they went into Green Bay and beat them up again. And
yes, they did.
When you've got a quarterback who's already with Mahomes one of the best I've ever seen, and he's young.
He is.
And you've got somebody who's playing in his 10th Super Bowl, who's won the majority of them. I think, you know what this reminds me of? I think this to me feels more like, and I'm sorry, Al, the first time the Patriots met the Giants in the Super Bowl. And I actually picked the Giants to win that game. People told me I was out of my doggone mind.
I'm going to mute you.
I think you could. I was going to click. We're done. Good night. I could see this going either way. I think it'll be close, but I think the defense is going to for Tampa is going to hamper Kansas City enough, and you can't contain them. But I think they're going to be in their face enough and cause enough problems, and Brady is going to figure out a way to win. And I think Brady walks away with an MVP unless there is a defensive player for Tampa that gets like 5 sacks on Mahomes. It's just something ridiculous. Like, where did this defensive player come from today? Because I think the defense is a good part of this. And this is not Peyton Manning, who rode into a Super Bowl with the Broncos when he was running out. He ran out of gas.
Oh, yeah, he was done.
Yeah, he was done. Tom Brady, I thought he might have been done last year, but I look at him this year, he's like he's starting all over again.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. And I think that you're going to see an upset. Not by much. I'm not saying like dramatic last minute drive, which is not impossible. But I think however they do it, they contain Kansas City's offense enough. And Brady is Tom Brady. And a lot of these games, who's got the experience? A lot of these games comes out, well, who's the leadership here with experience? Mahomes is fantastic. Don't misunderstand. But when you got this guy, Brady, who's still playing at a championship level, and you give him the keys to the car, he's going to figure out a way to drive this thing down your throat and win the game. I think it's going to be Tampa. I think Tampa's going to pull the upset.
So two Kansas City with a close win, and Mike has Tampa with a close win. So,
yeah.
And I think everyone that said it sound, logic is there.
Yeah. So, be fun to watch.
Yeah, it will.
Good game.
And watch it be like one of those blowouts where the Raiders blow out the Redskins. I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
You know what? Then I'll just play pro strategy football.
There you go.
And you'll play the Raiders against Washington.
Right. So, gentlemen, chat, thank you very much. I try to get as many questions. And Kerry was great. I saw him typing in the chat a lot, answering questions. That's what this is all about. You're not going to get Kerry's incredible. Mike already said it. I can't really add it to it, except Kerry's incredible when it comes to feedback and wanting to put out the best product for the consumer of his. And you can get this game on Steam for a whopping $19.98, $19.99. I can't remember. It's under $20, people.
Yeah. And you get hundreds of hours of fun. So it's
and the mod seasons are beyond fair. Mod seasons, Michael? How much are the mod seasons?
Yeah.
They're not.
Exactly.
You know what they are? They're your time. Go get them. Have some fun. Then email me and complain about it. This player's too rated too high. This player's rated. And
we've got that.
The idea is to have fun with this, guys.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to get everything perfect. It's impossible.
Yeah. So
go have fun, and as long as the results are realistic, and you feel like this feels like this team. I mean, that's what we're hoping for as modders. I mean, that's what we're hoping for. We just want everybody to have fun.
Kerry, before we say goodbye, final thoughts, our good friend Kerry.
I just really appreciate you guys. I mean, I like doing this, but the game never really got much attention. And so I think with the work that Mike and Lee did, help, creating these incredible mods that I enjoy. I'm going to coach the 76 Cowboys next. But then also, I mean, that just brought up so much more attention. And then Al, you, I mean, I love listening to your commentary and watching your games. So guys, it means so much to me to see that my game is being used, that it's bringing joy, and that it's giving good results, that it's not crashing all over the place and stuff. So it gives me a lot of pride. So thank you, guys, and thanks for hosting this, and I look forward to doing it again. And all I can say is I'm looking forward to y'all being involved in this development cycle, and I hope that everyone loves the new version next year.
Oh, I think it's going to be great.
Hey,
Yes,
Al, if I could interrupt, I'm trying to call this up. Is there a way I can share my screen? I would love to show. Give me a second first. I'm going to load this up. I'm going to show Kerry something.
Okay.
I have a database for the webpage, and it shows me around the world where and how often the mods are being accessed. So I'm just waiting for it to call up. Give me a moment.
Yeah. So what I want to do is I want my game to be competitive. I mean, I know people love it. I love it. I would like it to be competitive with some of the others. Now, the thing is, it's not the same game. So, for example, if someone says, is this like front office? No, it's not like front office. It's a different game. So you can buy both, or if what you want is purely franchise, then you buy that game, and I'm okay with that.
When I look at a game, Mike's touched upon it. I've talked about it before. I think everyone touches upon it. Is it real? Is the result realistic to me?
Yeah, me too. Right.
That's what I look for. All the games I play, they're realistic to me. Every game is a different itch.
Mm-hmm.
What I love about your game, the animation, to me, this was going to get people involved in sports sims. Everyone says it's dying. It's these other companies. I'm not going to mention the company name, but I've ranted against them, and I own their product.
It's not the game.
Yeah, exactly. So the people in the forums, this stuff's dying. It's like, no, it's not. No. This helps maybe a younger, and it's not even just young. It's something that it's different. You get to see the uniforms. You get to see the animation, but yet it's still done with a very accurate sim engine. I've played it enough. Now, are you going to get some weird results? Yeah. Well, that happens in real life.
You don't get that in any simulation.
Well, that's why even in real life games, you get weird results. So it's an excellent game. Thank you very much. You have it, Mike? Are you?
Yeah, I have it too. Do I just hit share screen?
Yeah, do that. I think that.
Okay. All right. I'm going to share screen. Application. Ooh, okay. Here we go. You ready for this, Kerry?
Yeah.
Okay. No. Okay. Yeah. Here we go.
What you're looking at,
cool,
is from my website database.
Do you want me to make this big?
You places in the world where these mods are being downloaded.
That is cool.
And I can actually, look at the United States.
Yeah.
Look at the Northeast.
Yeah.
That giant circle.
Man.
So
that's the pro strategy football tsunami.
That's right.
I'm showing you this, Kerry, because
it's pretty cool that it's in Europe. Oh my gosh, it's over in Japan and South Korea.
I'm going to call it up.
New Zealand, in Australia.
Wow.
Yeah. See, somebody from Kimurero and Russia. 2 people from Chikuma in Japan. I can't even get this. Oh, I had it. Where is this? Somebody in South Korea. I'm trying to get it to pinpoint on it. Somewhere in China, Thailand. I know one of the people in China. Australia, Turkey, Vienna.
Oh my gosh! Look, Morocco.
Romley.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I want to say.
So
I want to say Ohio. I want to say Cleveland has the most. Is it Columbus? Columbus 20 unique. I don't know if you can see this on your screen when I hover or
Yes,
not.
you can.
Okay, you can. Las Vegas 6. These are unique users. These are not, 2-time hit, 1-time. This is, a unique one, individual.
Someday I need to
Argentina. Somebody in Argentina. Look at that.
that someday I need to
Morocco.
localize it so I can have it in Spanish and other languages. But being one guy, it's just hard. But I'm thinking in a year or two, maybe I can get that. This is great.
Columbus, Ohio has 20 unique users.
Pib99 says, I hadn't played a football sim for years. Pro Strategy Football brought me back with the realistic results and fun animation. Happy to support the game from here forward. D. Scott Howard said, football was low on my game interest.
Isn't that nice?
Before I got Pro Strategy Football 21. Now I can't wait for Pro Strategy Football 22. Thank you. I hope, again, let's do.
Mike, that was cool, by the way. Go ahead.
I figured you'd get a kick out of that. I mean, I know you've got your numbers for your game sales. I'm not asking you to share it or anything like that, but I just wanted you to know my experience. I'm seeing people from around the world trying to get their hands on these mods, which means they've got your game and they care.
Here's the thing, gentlemen, thank you very much. I'd like to have you on again whenever you want to come up, because this is fun. I'm very excited we had you on. And again, I'm lucky enough that I get to talk to you guys. I get to talk to Anthony, who has Glory Days Boxing, Kurt Berglund, Pine Tar Baseball. These are all independent game creators, wonderful people.
And we should support every last one of them.
Right. Thank you. It's all right to support the big companies too, but where are you going to get this? Kerry was in there because I'm like trying to, and I apologize for one thing that popped up, and I'll leave it at that because I told you, Kerry, I've gotten better, and I hit the wrong button. I wanted to do something else, and we'll leave it at that.
Well, at first it looked innocent.
Yeah, and then it was like, anyway, you got me once. So where else are you going to get a mod, a season creator? I'm not, and the developer, and you can throw out ideas to these two fine gentlemen, and they're listening, okay? And we went through. I thought we were going to do 45 minutes to an hour, and I could do another 3 hours, except my voice is going to go.
I'm looking at the clock.
I mean, on the back of the head.
My bladder too.
Yeah, but anyway,
I'm getting old.
Thank you very much. Hope everyone enjoyed it. If you did enjoy this, hit the like button. We'll give you more content like this. But more importantly, forget that's neither here nor there. It makes me feel good. So it makes me happy. But check out Pro Strategy Football 2021 if you haven't already. There are plenty of videos, not just my channel. Mike sims every championship game. You go and you look to see if the results are realistic. They're realistic.
He's got some great videos. Yep.
There's other people who've done it. Chris Slovak.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's marvelous. Uncle Ron went through a video. Dave Gardner's done videos. And there's others. It's a fun game. The price point is excellent. You get everything for under $20. And you get the benefit of a developer, a mod creator. I'm so happy. We're going to have him back on. It's a lot of fun. You can ask. People were saying, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And Kerry was honest. I can do this. Maybe this would be the next. I mean, we can't do it. Or this. We probably can't do this. Right?
One guy
over
here. One guy doing all of it. So, yeah, I've got to go backwards.
Yeah.
This man right here is doing all of it. And he's listening to you. He's listening to every one of us, and at least considering the possibility of trying to give you what you ask for. So, and he made huge leaps and bounds with 2021. I mean, it was like 2020 was already a great game, and then 2021, people were like, what in the world? Where all this come from?
I remember going, you know what'd be cool? If the names were there. Bang. Next.
Yeah, I know. You guys. Okay, I did not type that. My wife must be logged on as me or something. But Look at that. That's
Hey,
funny.
it's all right.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty funny.
I'm going to give them back to you now. I've hijacked these two gentlemen long enough.
I want to hear. So we'll keep in touch.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting it in your hands more, and we're going to have more great ideas this year. So thank you, Al and Mike.
Everyone,
Hey, Gary, you're the one to thank. Al, thank you for having us on.
thank you, everybody.
Appreciate it.
Enjoyed this. Again, if you want to see more of this content, to be honest with you, I'm going to do it anyway, so it don't matter.
We'll go to Uncle Ron's channel. There you
That's right.
go.
Enjoy. If you have the game, go play it. Check it out. I highly recommend it. Thank you, Kerry. Thank you, Mike. Thank you to the chat. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for your time. Greatly appreciate it. Health, happiness, be safe, be smart, treat people the way you want to be treated. God bless. You know what's coming, folks. Peace.
Peace.